Oh man, I am tired. Rather than getting sleep last night, I was getting a Hawk Tua, if you guys know what I'm talking about. You know, I didn't get any sleep. What's up? Actually, no. The real reason I got up early is because you know I'm hitting the like dad genes, the like sleeper cell dad genes are kicking in because I woke up this morning and I was thinking, man, I'm actually really excited to regrout my shower. Anyone you get that feeling? I don't know if it's like a dad thing or an autism thing. Maybe like dads are all autistic, which would explain a lot about, I don't know, just life in general, I think. Maybe just having a kid makes you autistic. I don't know. Um, but like you're like, yeah, I can't wait to do this home improvement. That's terminal stage aging. It's over. I'm like 500. GF is preggo, so a lot of this hitting. Congratulations. I'm sorry for the sheer terror you're feeling right now, but still, congratulations. Um, I can't believe this shit, dude. I don't know. I just saw this on Twitter, like completely out of context. I assume it's some like Russian campus award thingy or meeting or whatever, because you've got Haas here and you've got Hinkle here, trying not to look like the shortest one in the group. Dude, every single person here needs a hem, except for this individual right here. What the fuck? How can you be like the alpha males of the modern American political elite and not Jesus? Didn't you debate the guy in blue? Did I? I have no memory of that. Wait, wait, this is that guy? He's like 4 feet tall? He's shorter than Haas? Oh my god. Dude, whenever a guy posts a video of him flexing on the gram, they should put like a disclaimer if they're 5'2". What the fuck? Who gives a shit if you've got cannons? Like if you're that short. Holy shit. I will say though, I like his shirt. Pants are shit, but I like his shirt. Who are these people? I don't know. Kind of body shaming now? Yes, that's correct. You identified what I was doing. Well done. I don't know, Vosh. The last like 5 minute tirade you've made against the appearance of the person you don't like feels kind of body shaming to me. Does it? Oh, I'm sorry. Why are the pants shit? Is it just the folds? Um, that's a pretty big part of it. A lot of it is the obsession with slim fit, you know? Um, Hinkle kind of gets away with it because he's just wearing a polo, but you really, really, really don't want slim fit with a lot of these types of pants. It just doesn't work well. It doesn't work well at all. I mean, I'm not going to spend like 30 minutes getting into it as much as I want to. Can you spend 5? No. That's not surprising, Sam Deman. Slim fit is awful with my chicken legs. It's just generally not good. Slim fit is like basically never justifiable with suiting trousers, in my humble opinion. It's fine with like jeans and stuff, you know. There are plenty of pants it works with, but not trousers. Yo! Fetterman bent the fucking knee. Get on the ground, you ugly ogre-ass motherfucker. You Shrek-looking motherfucker. Get on your knees. Let your fucking cycloptic weight crush your knees as they hit the ground. Did you see Kamala wearing the same fit as Lisa Simpson? It's not the same fit at all. It's a purple pantsuit, but Lisa's wearing a gray turtleneck. Kamala's wearing just a blue knitted shirt or blouse, maybe. And that's a pearl necklace. And I guess those are pearls, but it's a different design. Are those not pearls? I don't know anything about jewelry. I'm sorry, especially women's jewelry. Close enough. Did we get the Pelosi endorsement? Oh, dude, it's so over. The open convention might literally just be a formality at this point. To an extent, it already was, but now even more so. Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah, having an open convention where everyone knows what the outcome will be will do a lot to add legitimacy to Kamala Harris's run. When are you moving to Kick? Sorry, I don't want to be banned from Kick for being based and principled leftist. What about Barack Obama? Well, the thing with Barack Obama is that he's a massive pussy, so I honestly doubt he'll offer any endorsement at all. He's going to leave it all to the open convention, even if the outcome is obvious. We'll see, Benjamin. We'll see.
Please
Only in
welcome to the
Ohio.
stage State Senator George Lang. Fight! 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 Fight!
Jesus Christ, soy.
Fight!
Look at that. Look at the like determination and steely will of a person who's never had to lift like a fucking hammer in their life, man. Jesus Christ.
Fight! 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 We got time. Come on. Hey, we are
Please
in
clap.
the fight for the soul of our nation. We are in a fight for our kids and our grandkids, a fight that we can never imagine. I believe wholeheartedly Donald Trump and Butler County's J.D. Vance are the last chance to save our country politically. I'm afraid if we lose this one, it's going to take a civil war to save the country, and it will.
This is a common position from Republicans, by the way. Please don't be deluded into thinking that the Republican mind could withstand 8 consecutive years of we're fighting for the future of our country, our enemies are all demons, and we'll like destroy everyone and put us in camps if we lose, and then they lose and they don't do January 6 again. You know, if anything, Jan 6 #1 was nothing compared to what we can expect next time. The first time was just like a hasty attempt by Donald Trump. This time, you know, there will be like a prepared and organized effort, which they're already like setting up with Project 2025, but don't like do not get complacent no matter what, you know. And it's not all Republican voters. It's not every Republican, you know, even if they're stupid and, you know, easy to use, even if they're useful idiots to the oligarchs in power, that doesn't necessarily mean they're ideologically in favor of the worst things that the people they vote for are in favor of. But yeah, don't don't get complacent. Remember how there were members of far-right militias who showed up at voting booths all throughout the last election? Remember? You had like 3%ers and stuff who would show up at like Texas voting booths and they were just like chilling outside. Expect a lot of that. Expect a lot of that. They were here in Phoenix. In Phoenix, yeah, I'm not surprised. What would need to happen for the Republicans to no longer be a threat? That sounds like a Fed posty question, but the genuine answer is like we need a complete purge of insurrectionists in this country. The Republican officials and the corporate elite who have backed them are like complicit in an attempt to dismantle this country root by root. They're more dangerous to us than ISIS, than the Taliban, Al Qaeda. They're more dangerous than China, Russia. There's no threat on earth to the American people except those who are already within our own country. They are more effective and more dangerous than anyone else. And to that end, like I fully believe that an ousting of them and their insurrectionary buddies will be necessary to end the threat. Republican voters, I mean, aren't the way they are like by default. They are victims of nonstop corporate propaganda. And they can be ousted. I saw, Benjamin. You saw that being posted earlier, too. You know you're not the first to post it. There's going to be a lot of this. I feel bad for most Republicans. Yeah, well, let's not go overboard. Let's not go overboard. Yeesh. RFK confirmed to be seeking Trump endorsement. Is he fucking high? Oh, no, I'm sorry, you mistyped. Yeah, actually, I should ban you for that mistype. Hips the nerd, are you fucking high? RFK is not seeking Trump endorsement. Your link says the opposite. RFK offered to endorse Trump in exchange for a job. The Trump people declined because RFK Jr. was pushing too explicitly for a quid pro quo. Whoa, that's crazy. Donald Trump fucking over his lackeys because they ended up getting too uppity and wanted like compensation for the work they've done. RFK's been your like fucking plant for a year now. And what does he get for it? Nothing. Fuck you. Probably going to end up endorsing Trump anyway. Mm-hmm.
And I want the American people to know what a Kentuckian is and what they look like, because let me just tell you that J.D. Vance ain't from here. Now, the nerve that he has to call the people of Kentucky, of Eastern Kentucky, lazy. Listen, these are the hardworking coal miners that powered the Industrial Revolution.
They not like us.
Created the strongest middle class the world has ever seen, powered us through 2 world wars. We should be thanking them, not calling them lazy.
Appalachia goes that far south? Into Kentucky? Yeah, sure. Fuck, I have so many goddamn links to look at. And my nose is so stuffed up, it's so annoying. Every time I talk, it feels like my sinuses are clogged. Oh my god. I hate that.
So how are Republicans reacting to this seismic Democratic change? And should we expect to hear from those on the right in the coming days and weeks? And probably will. Let's bring back Jessica Malone Patterson, Elizabeth Pipko, and Steve Hilton. Thank you both, or thank you all three. Steve, I saw you there in the corner. I'm curious because J.D. Vance was talking to Jesse Waters earlier, and he said this. Watch.
Is it a coup against Joe Biden?
It's sort of, yeah.
I think it is. I mean, look, there's a constitutional process, the 25th Amendment. If Joe Biden can't run for president, he can't serve as president.
Right.
And if they want...
No? Why do they keep repeating that? How does that work? Any president who accepts being a one-term president automatically can't be a one-term president? You don't get to be a president at all unless you're willing to commit to be a two-term president? That doesn't follow even remotely. There's literally no logical connection. They're so desperate to prevent Kamala Harris from being their opponent.
To take him down because he's mentally incapable of serving, invoke the 25th Amendment. You don't get to sort of do this in the most politically beneficial way for Democrats if it's an actual...
You can't force people to invoke the 25th Amendment. Also, because a person doesn't want to run for an additional 4 years in office, that doesn't mean that they can't be president now.
problem. They should take care of it in the appropriate way.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of saying assaulting democracy without actually saying it. Elizabeth Pipko, does he have a point?
He 100% has a point. Look.
No, he really doesn't. Also, wow, you look scary. She looks like the theoretical ghost of the girl from fucking Fight Club, man. Jesus Christ. Doesn't she look... What's her name? She's got 3 names. Actual evil phrenology? Yeah, lich phrenology. Marla Singer? Yeah, Marla Singer.
The American people deserve answers, right? They deserve to know if this is a candidate that's being put in.
You know what she looks like? She looks like she's an AI video.
And Elizabeth Pipko,
she's too soft and fuzzy. Is it a vanity thing? Is she deliberately turned up the fuzz on her video to make it look like she has no pores?
Point?
He 100% has a point. Look, the American people deserve answers, right?
That
they deserve
looks
to
like
know if this
AI.
is a candidate that's being put in for the right reasons or not. And they also deserve to know if it's a candidate being chosen by them or being put in by this donor class, right? We have to ask ourselves, if Joe Biden had backed out of the race a couple of months ago and they had time, would they have had a Democratic primary? And would Kamala Harris even be the chosen pick of the American people? There's a lot the American people are owed here, and they're not getting any of those answers.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Love to see the January 6 people, we're a republic, not a democracy people, pretending they give a shit about the purported, like, lack of democracy in the Democratic primary. You know, people who literally are backing Project 2025, and they're like, yeah, I'm really concerned with, you know, we know Kamala Harris has higher favorability ratings than Joe Biden, and the donors immediately, like the regular, average, small time donors, like, fired up as soon as Kamala Harris got in. And we know that, like, there's a ton of energy now that she's been selected instead of Joe Biden as, like, the front runner candidate for the Democratic primary. But we, as good faith participants, are very concerned about the state of our democracy.
Steve Hilton, you know, I know you're in politics, and I know you know how important opposition research is. Do you think Republicans are just thinking, man,
Jack Posobiec's tweet to that effect. Right now, we do not have an elected leader running this country. The most powerful nation in the world is being run by bureaucrats and a shadow government. He means Jews, and he's been saying this for the entire time Joe Biden has been president. There's nothing new. There's no new information here, you know? Like how Elon Musk is dog whistling about the Jewish control of the government. You know, like, oh, George Soros is puppeteering the Democratic Party. Meanwhile, Elon Musk is literally the wealthiest man on earth who privately bought a social media company so that he could run it as a campaign apparatus for Donald Trump.
we have got some opposition research information on Kamala Harris to beat the band?
Well, look, I'm sure they've been doing that work. We know the Trump campaign has been preparing for this scenario, and there's a lot there, particularly from her record in California. I mean, I just looked up a piece and put it out on my social media today that I did when she was named vice president. This is 4 years ago on my show when I looked at her record. And when she was San Francisco district attorney, for example, she covered up child sexual abuse. She covered it up, and she brags about prosecuting sex offenders. She covered up one of the vilest crimes you could.
I think I vaguely remember this talking point from 4 years ago. I don't really care enough to get into it. If it's actually serious, then, like, it'll come up. Also, listen, okay? All right, here's the narrative. Kamala Harris regrets what she did that day, covering up the sex abuse. So now she's going after the kingmaker of pedophiles. Now that Epstein's dead, he's the #1 guy, Donald Trump. Cop versus robber, or cop versus pedophile.
Possibly.
And not only is this almost certainly a lie or misrepresented, because they always do. If they told the truth, why would they be Republicans? But also, this is her shot to go after the #1 pedophile, okay?
She sided with the people who were doing it, rather than with the victims who were begging her as DA to give them the information so they could mount a civil prosecution. She stood with the perpetrators instead of the victims. When she was Attorney General in California, she played a role in one of the most disastrous things that has destroyed our state. Jessica knows this incredibly well, of course. Proposition 47, right at the heart of all the chaos and crime and homelessness and drug addiction problems we have in California. That's what we need to focus on.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, Proposition 47 is the thing that gave people, if you want to go into any kind of store and you steal less than $950 worth of stuff, it is no longer a felony, and so they just...
Cool. That's great. I don't think that your entire life should be ruined because you stole, like, 1/10 of the daily salary of a tech worker in San Francisco's worth of stuff from a Target. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Oh no, you stole, like, an iPhone. It's only a misdemeanor. I don't give a shit.
Steal at will. I'm wondering to you, Jessica, because, you know, Republicans, we mentioned that the Trump PAC has already dropped an ad against Kamala Harris. But there's a possibility, maybe it's not a huge possibility, but a very real possibility that in 3.5 weeks, Kamala Harris flames out and they've got to take on yet another opponent.
Wishful thinking. What possible evidence is there for her flaming out? You know that You know that ever since she became VP, she's been like tapping her fingertips together every time Joe Biden coughs into a microphone.
They are very clearly still in disarray. And with so many that still have not endorsed Vice President Harris, it's pretty clear that this is not a done deal yet. And for all of the reasons that have been stated, her horrendous history here in California, they're going to be talking about her job as border czar. They're going to be talking about her war on American energy. These are all
war on American energy. It's crazy how the shit they say means literally nothing, you know?
issues that are really important to American voters right now. And California Democrats will be able to tell you just as well as anyone else in the country that she's not ready for prime time.
Yeah. Is there a vice presidential pick, Elizabeth Pipko, that...
Why do right-wingers hate California with a passion? Because it's by far the largest and most powerful state, and they can't stand the fact that it is, and that it's like vastly more so than Texas. And Texas is number 2. They can't stand that fact, so they pretend that the entire state is failing. Like, if you like go to any Bible Belt state, any like deep red Midwestern or Bible Belt state, and it's a shithole, an actual shithole. Go to Appalachia, go to the deep South, like actual decrepit, filthy, rotten shithole. But they don't talk about that because that's their voter base. Instead, they're like, oh, yeah, in San Francisco, one of the most wealthy and powerful like micro regions in the United States, there's like some homeless people on the ground, and there's like poop on the ground, and people steal stuff from cars. So it's like a third world country that has the economic power of a modern nation. Oh yeah, California on its own has like the 8th highest GDP in the world against any other country, you know, but like let's pretend that it's falling apart. They don't like California because California is doing better than basically any state they rep. Same with New York. They pretend New York City is a shithole rather than, I don't know, the city in the world. Like, New York City isn't just a big city, it's one of these cities. It's up there with London and Paris is as like capital T, the capital C city. It's massive. But they have to pretend that it's a shithole because, you know, when they're out there like, oh yeah, what's the biggest fucking city in your state? Jacksonville? You know? Oh yeah, sure. Okay, man. Doing great. Doing great.
You're concerned about that could make Kamala Harris a viable threat?
There certainly is not. Look, Trace, I did not take this job just to take it. I can tell you right here, I would not have taken the job if Donald Trump was
5th biggest economy in the world. That's crazy. As a state. Did you know that if you break down like blue versus red districts by economic productivity, the divide between how much wealth blue regions of the country produce versus red regions is like fucking astronomical? Like, the difference in wealth production, the difference in economic productivity between Republican and Democrat areas, so-called, is psychotic, you know? Because cities are the cities produce wealth. And cities are overwhelmingly blue, basically everywhere. Florida, Texas, doesn't matter where you are, you know, cities are blue. Is there a map for that? Yeah, but I'm not going to go digging for it now.
Was not the man on the ticket, because this is not a man and a ticket you see every other race. This is an actual movement, and it's a movement that's gone up against the political machine that's wanted to take him out since he first announced that he was running for president in 2015. Every time they try to knock him down, he comes back stronger. There's absolutely no one that we fear. There's no one that Donald Trump fears.
She really does look like and talk like AI, doesn't she? She doesn't even enunciate anything. She's just talking in a perfectly flat tone. She's you know, self-consciously blurred her camera. She's very creepy.
Strongest he has been since he announced his run first in 2015, and we don't fear any candidate or any vice president that they can come up with.
And I wonder, Steve Hilton, if you look at her, the totality of Kamala Harris's record, how in the world does she navigate the border crisis? I mean, how...
Her jaw is huge. Hold on. We're not hating on queens with a clocky jawline, okay? That's not the point of this. I'm talking about, like, her overall vibe.
How in the world politically, because it's such a big issue. I mean, you can get the other stuff, oh, that was in California, or she was getting, you know, she was helping bail out the George Floyd protesters and rioters and so forth. Oh, well, you know, it was, but the border is a big, big issue, and navigating around that is going to be tricky at best.
Right, it's the biggest, and it's the biggest liability for her in terms of her record, as Jessica was saying. And look, I mean, she's going to not want to talk about it. Before all this, they only had two arguments when it was Biden-Harris, basically abortion and democracy. They can't exactly use democracy now after what's happened. So she's going to...
They can't, they've lost that talk. Oh, blimey. They've lost the right to that talking point. Yeah, we want to completely destroy American democracy, but they chose a different candidate before the convention. So how can they do that?
To be going on about abortion, but just to pick up on what Jessica was saying, I mean, if you talk to California Democrats, as I have, about her, they can't stand her.
This is citation needed, as I have, you know, going by anecdote. My understanding is she's pretty popular in California.
The people who know her best think she's absolutely terrible.
Citation.
And then the defining problem with her, this is where the real argument needs to be made about the future, is that she's just like Joe Biden, a machine.
That's the best they've got, dude. They really do have nothing, man. They really do have nothing. Remember how when we were watching that bit from Tulsi Gabbard the other day, they were lambasting Kamala Harris for being too hard on crime? And here they're like, well, she wouldn't even give people felonies for stealing an iPhone. Okay, and well, she's just like Joe Biden. Okay.
Politician who will say anything, do anything, and that means she will pander to the left, just as Joe Biden did, and land us with the same disastrous set of policies on the border, on gas prices and the economics and the regulation and
this is one of the easiest ways to tell whether or not a person actually believes anything or has anything to say, or if they're just repeating talking points. What the fuck does Kamala Harris have to do with gas prices? What are you talking about? What is the relationship between these facts? You're just saying shit. They're thought-terminating cliches. In the Republican mind, they're just trying to activate all of those, like, deeply carved, well-worn neural centers that they've dug, where you're meant to feel negatively about someone if they bring up words like climate or gas prices or border crisis or whatever.
Crime and all this far-left stuff.
Nice
that
picture
whether she believes it or not, she will cave to the far-left activists who really run the Democratic Party.
This is what they've got on her. Hey, did you know she laughs? Did you know here's some photos of Kamala Harris. Did you know she's full of whimsy and mirth? Did you know she's joyful? Grrr.
These days.
It's an interesting point that Steve makes there, Jessica, because he's saying, you know, the bottom line here is that Joe Biden and that Kamala Harris will virtually say anything to help their. But, you know, when Joe Biden says something and he screws it up, you know, you write it off as, well, Joe Biden's always been a gaffe machine or Joe Biden's getting older or so forth. But when Kamala Harris messes something up, it is, I mean, the word salads that she's famous for.
What word salads is she famous for? The wheels in the bus go round and round. They do that, though. They do that. That is something they do.
It's harder to write those off as anything except for, you know, just not being great at communicating her message.
I actually think this is an IQ check. If her line, unburdened by all that has been, if that reads as word salad to you, I just think you're kind of like cognitively deficient. I just don't think you should have a driver's license, I guess. If you listen to that and you're thinking like, wow, that doesn't mean anything, I think that you lack the ability to process like very basic, like rhetorical, like anything even like vaguely flowery and like you wouldn't survive an 8th grade English class, you know? This ain't some ESL shit, okay? These are Fox News like pundits. These are talking heads.
Yeah, and the policies behind it. The messenger matters a lot less than the actual message, which is terrible. And
oh, hold on. Benjamin earning his first mute of the day. There we go. We are on the coconut train. Benjamin, you are going to get on it or you're going to be left behind.
their policies have failed. They've failed Americans. We've seen it all through the last 3.5 years. And that's why Americans are ready for something new.
Yeah, and Elizabeth Pipko, to you, I'm just curious if you think that there's something that Republicans need to prepare for. Do you go with everything you have at Kamala Harris and think that she's the candidate, or do you kind of hold some of your, some weapons in your quiver so that you can go after somebody if that day should happen to come?
Oh man, they are so desperate. The wishful thinking is crazy. The idea that anyone has a chance of becoming the front runner other than Kamala Harris. They so desperately want it to be anyone else. They're begging, they're praying, they're on their hands and knees. Please, God, let it be Gavin Newsom. You know, let it be someone where we can immediately like snap to a bunch of negative. You know, let it be anyone. Let Hillary Clinton come by. Please, God. Have you seen this Jane Lindsay tweet about Kamala using devil chants? Yeah, I saw it. It's literally Kamala just saying yeah.
You know, what can be unburdened by what has been.
This phrase, which she repeats all the time, is not mysterious. It's esoteric. That is, it's a cult. It's a Marxist and Luciferian incantation, and that's easily seen. Peasant brain. James Lindsay is a phenomenally stupid man. Like, he genuinely just isn't up with the curve. He's the guy who, like, brags about the lies that he's been paid to tell and will explain how he's lying, and then get, like, screenshotted for it and be used as an argument against. Why do you think the critical race theory cycle didn't last too long? It's because idiots like him were like, yeah, this is a bit of social engineering we engaged in, where critical race theory doesn't mean anything, but we lied about its meaning to make people angry, you know? Peasant brain is all I can really say, you know? Stick to throwing salt over your shoulder every time you knock a vase off a shelf.
You know, the fact is we're not going against a candidate. We're going against a set of policies which have hurt the American people tremendously. That's something that actually most Americans on the left and the right agree with. If you're looking at these poll numbers, you can see that most people agree with the fact that this administration does not know what they're doing and does not know what's best for the American people. So, no, there's nothing that we are worried about, nothing we have to prepare for that's outside the box. We know for a fact that right now Donald Trump is the man for the job. He's the man that the American people want. And it's something that both sides can now agree on.
Which is why he has favorability ratings of like 35%.
Because she is incredibly unpopular, Joe Biden is incredibly unpopular, and it's because these policies simply do not work.
Yeah, I've got 30 seconds for you to wrap us up, Steve.
So a final thought, Trace, looking at Kamala Harris, California Democrats have never performed well in nationwide elections because they are too left-wing and they don't know how to talk to people.
The belief that California Democrats is too left-wing, another like delusional invention of the Republican Party. I fucking wish. I fucking wish that California Democrats were anything like Wisconsin or Michigan Democrats, you know? But alas. Yeah, Dianne Feinstein, the fucking epitome of left-wing virtue, you know? God. Yeah, the average Midwestern Dem would call the average California Dem a class traitor and have them against a wall. The CA legislator were passing insanely good bills that were vetoed by Newsom. Yeah, because Gavin Newsom is a piece of shit motherfucker who's fucking hedging his bets so that when he runs for the presidency, he can convince all the moderate Republicans that he's not as far left as Fox News will say he is. And then nothing will come of it because obviously reality and what people who watch Fox News believe in don't really line up that well. Why are all Dems in the inner part of USA Leninist? Because the Dems in Michigan don't have to represent like Los Angeles, Bel Air, Beverly Hills style bourgeois Democrats, and they don't have to represent like Tech Valley Democrats either, okay? They represent good old corn farming Democrats. As God intended. Getting closer and closer to like Blue Dog Democrats. Or Wall Street Dems like New York, exactly. Often and hard, J Panther. Here's the Harris speech. It's pretty short. I know. Why do I hear breathing? Somewhere in this room, Artemy, that fat fuck, is laying down and snoring. He's in the goddamn walls. He's in the goddamn walls. Sudden burst of gunfire from me and from the walls. A la the Matrix movie. Dude, we are genuinely so fucking back. You know that in the past 48 hours, the Democrats have raised $250 million? The Future Forward PAC was reserving a bunch of money in case anyone became the front runner other than Joe Biden. The Future Forward PAC was waiting for anyone other than Joe Biden to be the front runner. They were holding it like contingent on someone else being the future of the party. And Kamala herself, through the Act Blue, has raised nearly $100 million. $250 million in 24 hours. Do you have any idea how insane this is? This is the single best fundraising day for the Democrats broadly in any specific campaign in, I don't even know how long. In terms of like single day donations, it beats Donald Trump after his conviction, when he became a convicted felon for being a rapist. Sorry, not for being a rapist. That was a different thing. That was a civil case. It was when he became a convicted felon for why am I blanking? The Stormy Daniels. Thank you. Yeah, I was thinking the documents case, but it's like, no, the Trump judge pushed that one back. Vosh, that's not $250 million. Well, if you add $150 million and then you add that to $90 million, you get a number that's very close to $250 million. So, you know, just a little bit of like table math there. The energy from new donors has been genuinely insane. We covered in the past the RNC having no money. Is it still the case? The RNC has not had much money. There are some state RNC divisions that don't have any money at all. The Trump campaign has a lot of money because, of course, it does. He's been campaigning. Elon Musk has pledged $45 million a month to it, like through his PAC. So, yeah. It's the Trump campaign has money. However, $250 million in 24 hours is unbelievable, like genuinely unbelievable. The momentum for organizers is also off the charts. A Zoom call to mobilize black women in political organizing got 40,000 people in it, and they raised $1 million in 3 hours. I'm telling you, man, Georgia is as good as ours. Something mainstream media won't report. There was a Zoom tonight for black women organizers for Kamala Harris. The call had a max of 1,000 people. They hit it immediately and got a hold of the Zoom CEO to help. I wasn't aware that the Zoom CEO had the ability to hit like a big red button that upped the caller limit. You know? I mean, that's cool, I guess. I think that the CEO of a company should be able to hit a big red button and like immediately change something about the program that their CEO. I think they should have that option, you know? Calling John Zoom, exactly. Is Cenk actually stupid? Without looking at the tweet you've linked? Yes. $150 million in new commitments from major Democratic donors in the past 24 hours since the president announced he would step aside in the race. Dude. Future Forward already had $122 million in cash on hand. Before Biden dropped out, several major Democratic donors threatened to withhold their donations after the president's feeble performance. Feeble! Man, Politico, not holding back, huh? In the June debate, the senior aide described those donors who pledged $100 million as having been stalled but now doubling down. Never let them tell you that this was like some crazy online-only decision, okay? Everyone wanted Joe Biden out. Yeah, the energy right now is palpable. Everyone who underestimated the extent to which Joe Biden dropping out and Kamala Harris becoming the frontrunner would energize the donor and like voter base should suck my dick. If you've underestimated that, you don't know politics, baby. I know my shit, okay? And you know what I know? People like memes and people like hope and people like energy. This is the problem with liberals, man. Liberals don't understand that politics is more than policy. Politics is more than, well, Joe Biden did policy. Who cares if he can't talk for shit? He's a steward of policy, you know? Who gives a shit, man? Politics is vibes, baby. Politics is a dance. Politics is a song. You gotta hate that shit. Look, politics is a dance, and look, okay, Joe Biden's a white boy. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Is Bernie and AOC liberals? Both rhetorically and literally, yes. Future Forward has already reserved $250 million in TV and digital advertising earlier this year. Me sitting down and turning on cable TV for the first time in 12 years so that I can be hit with like 17 pro Kamala Harris advertisements in between, like for every commercial break, you know? I'm out here watching like 90 Day Fiance on cable live at just so that every 7 minutes they're like, the following is an advertisement brought to you by Kamala Harris for America. And I'm just like, let's go. This is the biggest amount of donations the Dems have seen in Act Blue history, even more than when RBG passed away. Nice. That's fitting, you know. The donations that we received in the wake of RBG being the most selfish piece of shit in fucking history of American politics being supplanted by donations following Joe Biden being significantly less selfish. That's nice, you know. That's nice. No, Annie, we found out they do copyright claim, not like us, unfortunately. They turned back on the copyright. The Biden campaign already had 100 mil in the bank. That is wild. Yeah, this is American finance law, but the way it works is that you can only donate so much money directly to to any political candidate, Donald Trump, Kamala Harris. If you register a campaign, you can donate to the campaign, but you're limited in how much you can provide that campaign. So if you want to donate directly to Kamala Harris, the limit is $2,500 per year, I think, right? It's 2,500, right? That's the limit that you can make in a direct donation to a candidate. However, if you make a PAC, you can donate to that PAC an infinite amount of money. There's no limit. 3,300? Okay, 3,300. Maybe it changed. I remember it being 2,500. Well, whatever. You can donate an infinite amount to a PAC. The thing is, the PAC cannot be directly controlled by the people who run the campaign. So if you give a bunch of money to, say, the Future Forward PAC, you can give infinite money to the Future Forward PAC, but they cannot be controlled by the Kamala Harris presidential campaign directly. The PAC can spend that money in favor of Kamala Harris. The PAC can like run attack ads and defense ads and do whatever they want, you know, but they cannot coordinate with the campaign. They are their own institution. So this is the Future Forward PAC, which is one of the like, you're talking about super PACs? Okay, yeah, super PACs. But nowadays when we're talking about stuff like this, like the super PACs, yeah. But like, Future Forward can spend a bunch of money to that end, like, and you can donate infinitely, you know? Can the PACs work with the DNC itself? No, the campaign for Kamala Harris is like an apparatus of the DNC. The DNC cannot control the PAC. The PAC is a private institution. Note, they do coordinate anyway. Yes, in practice, they do coordinate anyway, but there are limits on it, and it's dubiously legal. Well, no, it's objectively illegal for them to coordinate, but like they do it anyway, whatever, okay? So that's the difference. This is a PAC that people can give infinite money to. When corporations want to make massive donations, they do it to super PACs. When Elon Musk is giving 45 mil a month to Donald Trump, it's not directly to Donald Trump, it's to Donald Trump's super PAC, of which he has several. When you see stuff like this, Democrats have now raised over 90 million via Act Blue. These are direct donations made directly to Kamala Harris's campaign via the DNC. That means these are mostly regular donations, like grassroots donations. When big corporations want to make donations, they don't do it through Act Blue. If you or I want to make a donation, we do it through Act Blue. So 90 million in basically 24 hours only from regular ass people. This is only the money that has come in from regular, ordinary, blue-collar, workaday Americans. An insane, record-topping amount of money in an incredibly short amount of time. Think of it this way. Remember the despair that you felt when you heard that Elon Musk was going to be contributing 45 mil a month to a super PAC for Donald Trump? There are only 4 months to the election. 45 times 4 is 180 million. This is 1/2 of the total amount of money that Elon Musk, one of the wealthiest men on earth, is going to be giving Donald Trump through his super PAC in a single day only from regular ass voters. In addition to that, We have the 150 million in new commitments to Future Forward, in addition to the 122 million they already had, in addition to the amount of money that the Joe Biden campaign trust already had. We're talking like in total, the total amount of money that they have on hand right now, both directly and through super PACs, is probably totaling like in excess of $500 million at this point, which is unbelievable. A lot of that is already penned for like TV ads and everything, you know? This ain't the only PAC either. This is just the front runner. Can corporations and Elon Musk write off their donations? Officially, no, but like, yeah, like, I'm sure there are ways around it. What do you say to Kamala's voting record? Kamala has one of the most left-wing voting records in the Senate. For a while, it was even more left-wing than Bernie Sanders, depending on how you like judge the metrics. She has a very left-wing voting record. Is it worth it for us to donate to the Harris campaign? Well, will she use the money better than I'll use the money? I will use your money if you donate to me to buy new pants. Kamala Harris might use it to, I don't know, like, forestall the collapse of American democracy into fascism. Whatever you think is more important. Maybe. I want a refund? No refunds. Already $250 million in TV and digital advertising this year. Do you have any idea how much $250 million gets you in TV and digital advertising in a 4-month window prior to the election? Do you have any idea? Like, concentrate. They're throwing that shit down in Georgia, in Pennsylvania, in Arizona, in New Mexico. Like, they're throwing that shit down in you know, specific states. 3 Super Bowl ads. Okay, all right. Let's not go by Super Bowl pricing. Kamala Harris has reportedly declined to preside over the Senate for Benjamin Netanyahu's address to Congress this week. Huh. We'll see if that ends up being true. Oh, it's been confirmed. Capitol Hill reporter just confirmed Harris refused to meet Netanyahu. Fucking beast! There you go, guys. That already better on the Gaza issue than Biden. Confirmed? Nice. What if Harris does buy new pants? I suppose that's a possibility. Chance the youth voter turnout will be higher than 2020? I don't know if it's necessarily going to be higher than 2020, but I think that Kamala Harris being the frontrunner just skyrocketed the youth vote. There is not a young person in America who would have been, like, enthusiastic about casting a vote for Joe Biden. It would have been begrudging at best. This, however, another big thing that goes in Kamala Harris's favor is that she's mimetic. I know that sounds like a very stupid, like, reason to win the election, but if you'll cast your minds back to, I don't know, all of human history, mimetic advertising has been the bedrock of basically every Democratic election campaign ever. Think about how in, like, the 1950s, people were wearing pins saying, like, "We like Ike," you know? People were winning and losing elections based on how catchy a slogan was. Like, the idea that, oh, no, actually, the American voter cares about policy. They don't care about... Fuck you, stupid piece of shit. You know nothing. Nothing. You know nothing about politics. I know everything. The fucking low IQ, you know, politics is all about meme magic versus the medium IQ. No, politics is about policy versus the high IQ. Like, politics actually is about meme magic perspective, you know? Have you noticed she's used the Obama cadence? No, I think you're just being a little racist. She's just talking the way she talks. Who's spending the most? Have they already switched over the... Oh, look at that. The interns over at the FEC.gov have already switched over the name. Who's spending the most this election cycle? Kamala Harris is now up here on top, having spent more than double Donald Trump. The big issue with Democrats is that they often have trouble like spending the money that they raise, which is hopefully why I'm hoping that the people at Future Forward, with the $250 million they have, are that they're going to do a good job with the allocation of their wealth. Where are they spending this? I'm in PA and I see no ads. Ad spending doesn't happen until the very end. Ad spending usually has a very short-term, like temporary effect on people's voting perceptions. The interest in ad spending is mostly to remind people of the election and to get them out there, more so than to change your mind, you know? Mind-changing ads versus like get on out there now ads are very different, and it's usually better to focus on the latter. Changing a person's mind via an ad's pretty tough. My dad was going to vote Trump, but he told me he will now vote for Kamala because she's good-looking. Lamau. Yeah, that's the American voter for you. There you go. We taught this chimpanzee to understand the median voter's politics, and he hanged himself. God bless. God bless the median voter, which is, by the way, an ableist slur. Rivaling like the worst ableist slur you know doesn't come even close to being as bad as median voter. If someone called me a median voter, like on the street, I'd commit seppuku right there. What's your opinion on John Tester as a VP pick for Harris? I'm sorry, I'm a Josh Shapiro boy. I know Shapiro fucking sucks. I just want to win Pennsylvania. I want Blennsylvania, okay? I really don't want Rennsylvania. Cooper's also an option, but I think the likelihood of North Carolina is lower. Bashir, Gretchen hasn't even chosen. Like, Gretchen doesn't even want to do it. She specifically denied she wants to be VP. What about Mark Kelly? Yeah, but Arizona's worth fewer fucking electoral votes. Don't you think Arizona can win on its own? Do you not believe in the authentic Blairizona? Do you not believe in the good old honest homegrown Blairizona? No? All right. Maybe me either. Me either. I'm from Kentucky and we all love Bashir. I really don't think we're getting Blentucky. I just don't think we're getting Blentucky. I want it. Kamala campaign's been posting about Bashir. It's going to be Bashir. I think Bashir and Shapiro and Kelly are all up there as like top picks, you know? Here. We're doing it again. All right. Here we've got what we the predictions based on current polling. Okay? Good Lord. Bless you. Oh my God. That was so necessary. Holy shit. Okay, my personal opinion, now that we have Kamala Harris, I think that Georgia is a light blue. Genuinely, I do. I think that Georgia is a light blue. I think that's a solid pick. Personally, I also think Michigan and Wisconsin are very likely locks, you know? Pardon me for being optimistic, but I really do think that like the increased level of energy as well as distancing, like Kamala Harris distancing herself from Joe Biden's record on Israel, I think there's a decent chance. I don't know about Wisconsin. Let me be optimistic, okay? Let me be optimistic, all right? So if we assume those three are correct, we only need one more state, actually. So it wouldn't actually matter whether we had Josh Shapiro or Mark Kelly, because both of those would lock up their respective states, you know? Like, Mark Kelly would basically guarantee Arizona, and Josh Shapiro would basically guarantee Pennsylvania. So... Oh, it's also worth noting, by the way, that if we get Pennsylvania, we actually don't need Wisconsin. We only need Michigan. Oh, actually, no, we could go without either of them. We would only need one. Yeah, we'd only need 2 7. So yeah, we could get, if we get Pennsylvania, assuming we get Georgia and Pennsylvania via Josh Shapiro, we would only need either Michigan or Wisconsin. And it wouldn't matter if Nevada, and Nevada's probably going to go red. Let's be, yeah, be real here. You know, that would do it. The Electoral College is such a bad system. Yeah. My main issue is just like, we're not going to get Blentucky, and I don't think we're getting North Carolina either. Like, that would be really, really nice. But I don't think we're getting North Carolina. If we do get North Carolina, let's say we get North Carolina, okay, you know, let's say we get North Carolina. Now we do need Michigan. You know? Now we do need Michigan. It can't just be Wisconsin. But we're more likely to get Michigan than Wisconsin, right? In my humble opinion. I think we have a higher pull with Michigan than Wisconsin. So, yeah. Do we really think there's a chance of the Republicans winning Michigan? I guess it's not impossible. It seems more likely to me than not that it goes Democrat. Light blue. Light blue does not mean guaranteed Democrat. It just means likely Democrat. So if we got, here, if we got Michigan and Georgia, at that point, we could get Pennsylvania or North Carolina to win, but Arizona wouldn't be enough now. I'm optimistic about Kamala winning, but not about Georgia turning blue. I don't know, man. Did you hear about the 40,000 black women in that Zoom call the other day? Unironically, we have like good evidence pointing to black women being like the power brokers in Georgia, you know? Not that it matters much, but how many more popular votes will Kamala get than Trump? How the fuck would I know? I can say one thing for sure, like absolute guarantee, no doubt about it. Kamala Harris will win the real vote, the popular vote. But we're working through an undemocratic system that unfairly allocates more electoral more electoral college elector votes to smaller states. What do black women want? I mean, demographically, they probably want Kamala Harris more than they want Donald Trump. I'm just guessing, you know, based on the polling. What about Tim Walz from Minnesota? No, I don't think that's a necessary pick. Any chance of Indiana switching? I mean, do you believe in miracles? No, I don't believe so. One of these days, man. One of these days, we're getting Texas. I'm telling you, the first ticket the Democrats run that has a tough on crime Latin individual as either the president or VP, that's going to be it. Some like steely-faced Catholic, like thick-necked, maybe like a veteran Latin guy who's lived in El Paso for 28 years and is like, yeah, I love immigrants in America, you know, but we need to be tough on illegal immigration. That guy is going to sweep Texas. It's not even going to be close. Lalo Salamanca 2028. Lalo has already won my heart, okay? He can win the presidency. Kamala is a tough on crime chick. Well, for one, not Latin, and for two, a chick. I hate how accurate that is. Yeah, well, you know. I'm feeling optimistic, guys. I really am. These are the things that I truly believe, okay? If Kamala Harris goes with either Shapiro or Bashir, we get either, oh, sorry, not Bashir, Shapiro or Kelly. We either get Arizona or PA. I think we get Michigan. I just think we get Michigan. I believe in Michigan. And I genuinely do think we get Georgia. I am optimistic about Georgia. I really think we get Georgia. So from this position, PA would secure us the win, just flat out, or it would need to be Arizona plus Wisconsin. Michigan depends on Muslim turnout. Yeah, I mean, she'll be better off than Biden, at least. Shapiro does not deliver on PA. He's not known here. You don't think people in Pennsylvania know Josh Shapiro? I feel like they might know him a little bit. Michigan is harder than Georgia, IMO. I hope so, because that would mean Georgia is pretty easy. That would be nice. I would like to believe that. Why is Ohio being written off? They thought they were a swing state? No, Ohio's a swing state for local politics, but because, again, median voter syndrome, there are like 5 deep red states for the federal that are swing states for the local. I mean, how do you think North Carolina, Pennsylvania, how do you think they get Democrat governors? You know? If Ohio like flattened the IQ curve a little bit, they could be at least a swing state. Yeah, Kentucky as well. We can't pick Kelly. We can't afford to lose the Senate seat in a special election. But Kelly would definitely get replaced with a left-leaning individual, right? I mean, they didn't even care for why am I blanking on her name? I hate her. Sinema, Kirsten Sinema. Yeah, they like the Kirsten Sinema was a huge disappointment. No, Arizona has a special election law for replacements. Really? The Democratic governor would choose his replacement. Do they have a provision where the governor gets to choose the replacement? Hold on. Arizona Senate special election law. Yeah, for 2 years. Vacancy in the office of U.S. Senator or Representative. Vacancy shall be filled at the next general election. At such election, they shall fill the unexpired term for the vacant office. The governor shall call for a special primary election and a special general election to fill the vacancy. The governor shall call the primary election within 72 hours. It doesn't look like they pick it. It just looks like they... Wait. For vacancy in the office of U.S. Senator, the government shall appoint a person to fill a vacancy? What? What? Why would they hold a special election for a representative but not a fucking senator? For 2 years? They have to be of the same party? Okay. Whatever, man. I mean, okay. Don't you think this would be a phenomenal way to make Carrie Lake really upset? Katie Hobbs appoints like a fucking Marxist-Leninist replacement senator. Carrie Lake screams about a coup. I don't know, guys. My politics or whatever makes Lake mad. What happens when the votes turn out 269, 269? Presumably battle to the death. God, man. All right, that's enough of that. We have so many links to go through, dude. And I'm so fucking sniffly. It's so annoying, dude. I'll be right back. 1 sec. Lay off that sugar. I'm doing the opposite of putting stuff in my nose right now, actually. Maybe Midnight Crew. Maybe. I've got like permanent sniffly syndrome. It's really annoying. I don't feel sick at all. It's literally just like, I wonder if it's like a humidity thing. I'm not really sure. It just feels like sometimes you might notice when I'm streaming where I like stop talking as much and I get quieter and the tone of my voice changes. And whenever that happens is because I feel like my fucking sinuses are clogged up. And if I talk too aggressively, then it gets nasally because like my nose is clogged up. It's like so annoying. Maybe I need a humidifier. I don't know. Is it your AC, dry air, maybe? It might be. I do have a humidifier in my bedroom. Maybe I could run it in here? I'm not sure. Seattle does not have high humidity at all. Its humidity is barely higher than LA's, and LA does not have high humidity. So, yeah, maybe. Long COVID. To my knowledge, I've never actually had COVID. Isn't it always rainy? No. The myth that Seattle is always rainy, as far as I'm aware, is pushed by Los Angeles expats, you know? Like, it only rains a lot here compared to LA. It doesn't rain a lot here. It's pretty consistent clear skies. Oh my fucking God, dude. Jesus Christ. Maybe I need like a nose spray or something. You know those awful neti pot things? The ones where you like tip a teapot into your nose? Try Vapo Rub, my guy. Oh, that's also an option. The thing that has that like, what is it, like a menthol smell? Or it like that minty, what is it called? Warm salt water, same shit. Yeah, I guess so. Make sure it's salt water or purified water, because there was that one story of the lady who got literal fucking brainworms and died from doing that. I'm willing to try a few things because it's genuinely really annoying. Have you considered having a tissue box by your setup? I have a tissue box by my setup. I got the same flu and it lingers. Well, it's not a flu or anything. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I blow my nose a lot, like, and always have for like 5 years now. I blow my nose really often during, I'm just permanently fucking sniffling, man. It's really annoying. Allergies? Yeah. We can tell. Well, it's annoying me, dude. For you, you just get a sniffling noise. For me, I'm like, oh God, I'm like a fucking, like a mess in front of 10,000 people. How do you think I feel? You're like, oh, my ASMR experience is being disturbed. Then for me, I feel like like a mess. Now we get to hear it and see it. Well, fuck you. I'm a human. You know, I'm alive. I live. Oh, I'm trying with these shirts. I'm trying to like roll this, like cuff the sleeves a little. I think it's super cute. Look, doesn't it make me look like a little Boy Scout? I think it's super cute. It's actually adorable. Love it, man. Oh, thank you. That's really sweet. It could be unknown cat allergies. Nah, I've been tested for allergies. I'm set. Did you have this problem before moving to Seattle? Yes. No, I've always had this issue. I'll try a few other things. We'll try humidity. We'll try like the menthol thing, though I can't really do that while I'm streaming. Have you considered surgically removing your sinuses? I don't think the sinuses should exist. I think that there should just be a big hole in your skull in front of the brain. Lula calls on Maduro to respect result of Venezuelan election. How cool would it be if Lula da Silva actually ended up being a stabilizing force for Venezuela? Like having a big local country that was actually representative of the Latin American people and not just some right-wing, like, corpo-fascist autocracy or American plant, you know? How cool would that be? The no stun lock has ended. That would be nice. We'll see how the elections go, I suppose. Brazil is the future of South America. I encourage their hegemony. I agree. Thank you for the suggestion, Wabbajack. It would probably be worth my time to look into this. Sinus nasal rinse. Stuff like this always looks so gross, but, you know, at the same time, it's probably worth the investment. Is Brazil considered a world power? No. Do you have a deviated septum? No, I don't. That I know for sure I don't have. All right, let's move it along. This one's kind of short and sweet, but this is a point that I really want to make because I think it's extremely important. I've said before that I think one of the biggest advantages that Kamala Harris is going to have as the presidential frontrunner is the fact that Republicans are extremely racist and sexist, and they will not be able to resist expressing that in the context of Kamala Harris, which will be to their detriment, both because they have a hard enough time getting racial minorities on their side as it is, that's one. And for two, women right now are an extremely mobilized political class because Roe v. Wade was overturned. These are a couple of like select tweets that I want you to look at. This is very trite. This is literally, let's look at sexist tweets from Republicans. Right now we're talking sexism, okay? It's more socially acceptable to be sexist than it is to be racist, you know? Like, you all know that. We understand this intuitively. Just a few that I saw, you know. Give it to me straight. How long will it take to blow 51% of America? Now, we know that the right is obsessed with the idea that every woman on the left got to where she is by sucking dick. They did this with everyone. They've done this with AOC. They've done this with Ilhan Omar. They've done this with Hillary Clinton. They've done this with Pelosi, which is crazy because she's like 1 million years old. They probably did it with Dianne Feinstein, even though she's 2 million. Well, now she's dead. Unlike the actual throat goat Nancy Reagan. Yeah, no kidding. Either way, it's weird because it doesn't make any sense. I don't know about you guys. Kamala Harris does not come across as even remotely horny at all. Like, even slightly. Like, AOC has that video of her dancing as a college student, and she wears red lipstick, I guess. I don't think either of those are innately sexual. I think they're adjacent to sexual attraction. They're things people do to kind of like signal attraction sometimes. So you can read that and go like, oh, she's like a hot bitch. Now, is AOC a hot bitch? Yes. Is Kamala Harris a hot bitch? Sure. But Kamala Harris does not do anything even remotely like, I don't know, what's the right term here? Sexual isn't the right term. It's like she doesn't do anything alluring, but I'm not saying that as an insult. I just mean there's nothing about her character that comes across to me as, yeah, like suggestive at all. Again, I don't mean that as an insult. Just basically what I'm trying to say is she is reaching like crazy. Sorry, not she. They are reaching like crazy to attack her over this. By the way, they do it a lot. Kamala Harris should put out a statement. Hawk to oh my God, Sean, you're savage. Had to. This one's so embarrassing. I don't even like looking at it. Oh, here's George Alexopoulos. This is the guy who did the Biden You Ain't White comic, and then since then has done 50 comics where he draws himself as a 4-foot-tall gremlin man sexually assaulting women, and then the women like it. All that work for nothing, says a guy with a Bussin' for Biden shirt, which is a good shirt. And then Kamala says, never give up. Let me show you how it's done. And then she attempts to deep throat the Washington Monument. This is insane, right? Like, can you imagine where your mind would have to be at to arrive at this, it's a total non sequitur. You might as well go at this from like Biden's perspective. Like Biden might as well be the guy trying to like deep throat the, what's even the point? The point is that Kamala Harris is a woman, so she sucks dick. That's it. That's the level of imagination. But I still think it's indicative of something here, right? Like when presented, like think of this from the Republican perspective, okay? So George Alexopoulos is unabashedly partisan. He is right wing. He's a fascist, right? From his perspective, the future of the country, and maybe even the white race, hinges on Donald Trump winning. A massive pivotal election is coming up. Joe Biden drops out, and he's been replaced with Kamala Harris. This is like the fight of a lifetime. His neurons are firing. How do I, a partisan comic artist, engage with this in a way that serves my interest? And this is what he came up with. I really do think that the reflexive sexism of Republicans is going to consistently get in the way of their ability to attack Kamala Harris. Do you think women seeing this are going to be particularly moved towards the Republican Party? And what might Nick Fuentes' comment towards Harris be? Well, I think if anything, that's actually indicative. The Groyper movement is, and I'm speaking charitably here, 100% unfuckable men. It might be 101% unfuckable men. Now, historically, fascism has basically always been kind of bedrocked by men, but there were plenty of women Nazis. You might ask yourself, why are there basically no women Nazis? You might be able to think of some grifter like public figures, and I can too. But in terms of the general electorate, like the regular median voter, if you take a look at the breakdown of people's positions and perspectives, there are very, very, very few far-right women, regular voters. Do you think Candace Owens has a female audience? Do you think Melanie Mack has a female audience? No, they have male audiences. So why are there basically no women on the far right? My suggestion is that the reason for this is because the far right is performatively hateful towards women to the extent that they basically can't even join the movement. You know? The Proud Boys is a men's only club, like by name, you know? A gentleman's club, they call it. They fucking despise women. One of the most effective ways that you build a far-right political group is by appealing to incels. This is literally something Steve Bannon explicitly tried to do. Unfuckable young men tend to be emotionally fragile and hateful and resentful, and it's pretty easy to pull them in one direction or another. So given all of that, I feel like it's genuinely a pretty huge disadvantage for them to be up against a woman. Women are, after all, 50% of the vote in this country. I know it may be easy to forget that because when your political engagement online basically entirely comes down to you arguing with men, which it does, by the way. My audience is like 92% men, though given the fact that YouTube's gender statistics don't really track whether or not people transition, and sometimes it feels like half my community is trans women, I don't actually know. It might just be half my fucking VGG chat is trans women and the broader like YouTube watcher community is, you know what I mean. The online political engagement is overwhelmingly a men's game. Not because women don't care about politics, but to be fair, you have to be kind of a little bit of a masochistic retard to get involved in politics online. I'm speaking from my own perspective here. I'm speaking to yours. You aren't the exception. You're included in this. You kind of have to be a little bit. You guys could be jerking off or playing like, you know, the high, like Payday with your friends, you know, you could be on Fortnite and here you are watching a politics streamer. You're crazy, dude. Who says I'm not? You could be jerking it with two hands instead of using the one hand to chat. I'm playing TF2 right now. All right. Okay. I'm unfamiliar with your game. You all get the point that I'm making here, right? This stuff does not work to their benefit. I mean, much to this point right here. J.D. Vance says Kamala Harris is a childless cat lady who is miserable with her life because she doesn't have children. I'm not going to look into the article. I saw him say this in this interview. Literally, like, you're a woman, why aren't you in the kitchen? You know? This is the VP. Literally, like, Doesn't she call herself Mamala? I mean, she is all of our mothers. Also, yeah, does she not does she have, I don't actually know, because I don't look at a woman and think like I need to know whether or not she has children. I don't really give a shit. I don't actually know whether she has kids. She has stepchildren? That counts as having kids, though it might not to the right. Yeah, Cole and Ella, her 2 stepchildren. Oh, there they are. Wait, is that them? Oh, that's like... Okay, hold on 1 second. My apologies. What a beautiful coat on this young lady. That is really nice looking. Not to speak ill of the young man's drip either. I think they actually both look pretty excellent, to be honest with you. The scarf, the black coat over the charcoal scarf over the, you know, that looks really nice. Yeah. She always has insane drip. That's nice. I'm happy. Democrats just dress better. That does generally tend to be true, but we're talking about stepkids of a politician, so I don't really know. Anyway. So, right, childless cat lady. These insults are not going to land well with the female voter. Oh, I saw this one as well. What does this even mean, man? How it started to how it's going. And it's Kamala giving the Joe a blood. How much of a porn addict do you have to be? Like, genuinely, you're like a degenerate porn addict to be thinking this. It's offensive. It is offensive, but it's not offensive because it's like, I would be less offended if a porn artist drew like, here's my drawing of Kamala Harris and she's got like huge tits and a 4-inch waist or something. Like, I don't like, if somebody did that, I would think it's funny, you know, like, oh yeah, I'm coconut pilled and it's Kamala Harris like with 2 big coconuts in front of her tits. We're like, okay, whatever. Like, you know, that this is like an expected outcome. This is like genuinely psychotic. This is serial killer behavior. I only picked a few tweets, by the way. Like, there's a ton of this stuff. If you go under the comments of basically any Republican post on Kamala Harris, anything that's about her like laugh or anything about her as a person, not about her political record, there are a huge number of unfuckable, like middle-aged divorced dads who take selfies in their trucks with the shades on, you know, like talking about her in like a really disgusting sexual way, you know? And, you know, women are the one minority that are equally proportioned in every state, except for Alaska, you know? In every other type of minority, basically, is kind of like unevenly distributed. As we know, all the trans people are in Seattle, Chicago, and New York City. Racial minorities are distributed in a wide variety of ways. But when it comes to gender, with the exception of Alaska, like that's pretty much like evenly spaced. So why wouldn't Alaska have an even amount of women? Because a lot of people only move up to Alaska for seasonal work in fishing or in drilling. And those people are almost always men. I think Alaska has like 55-45 in terms of men-women. Alaska gender ratio. Yes, in Alaska, there are 110 men for every 100 women, which is a pretty significant difference. That's more of a gender imbalance than, say, for example, China, which has a significant imbalance. The difference, of course, being that that's all of China with its 1.4 billion people, whereas Alaska, usually the men like go back to other. That's horrifying. Yeah, Alaska also has a lot of rape. Let's not think about it. Can you explain how Christian conservatives are so obsessed with sex and porn? Because conservatism, the conservative ideology does not allow for women to be people. The entire red pill movement, every conservative political movement that talks about women talks about them as anything other than people. They're incubators for children, there's child rearers, they're trophies that hang off the arms of men as a symbol of status. From the red pill perspective, they're simple, semi-human animal creatures that are very easily triggered by or like excited by certain inputs that you can factor in. They're not really like people with complex desires. They're consequences of evolutionary psychology that can be exploited for their resource, which is pussy. None of these ideologies really factor in women being people, like humans, you know? And as a consequence of that, if they're not people, then they're usually sex objects. The less of a person a woman is, the easier it is to just reflexively sexualize them, which is why you see stuff like this. I don't think a normal, healthy human mind could ever produce this. I think a normal, healthy human mind could produce like a funny drawing of Kamala Harris with coconuts held up in front of her tits, because I think that you can do that in a kind of like, you know, half because Kamala Harris is like a hot mom and half because, you know, it's like funny. This, to me, there's nothing erotic about it. It's meant to be demeaning. The only point of this is Kamala Harris is a woman, therefore she is like blowing dicks to the top. It's not meant to elicit arousal, it's meant to put her down. And I don't think a healthy mind would ever reflexively defer to that without any supporting evidence. There's no evidence that Kamala Harris gave head to get to where she is. If there was a political candidate who was like, I don't know, obviously sleeping their way to the top, something which is basically never proven, by the way. There are plenty of corrupt politicians who don't deserve to be where they are. Most of them are men, and nobody ever goes, oh, you fucked your way to the top. Do people really think that blowjobs are so rare and so in demand in the market these days that you could become a fucking vice president by giving them? Are you a joke? Like, are you kidding? You think that any of the people Kamala Harris might have hypothetically given head to couldn't have gotten it from any other source and in infinitely like higher quality and quantity? Are you suggesting perhaps that Kamala Harris is the best dick sucker on earth? Like, they just want to demean women, you know? And it's not even funny. Look, if you're demeaning women and you've got a good joke lined up, that's one thing. If you can sling a good joke, then all right. But unless she knows the grapefruit technique, yeah, maybe. Maybe. No. Anyway. Kamala's already being called a DEI hire, which just make Republicans look like terminally online freaks. Oh, man. Oh, from a fucking rep, too. Oh, man. It's not even like a state senator or whatever.
Question to a Republican congressman, Tim Burchett of Tennessee, about the fact that they would be going up against someone who would be the first black South Asian woman who could be president of the United States, and what that means for the Republican campaign.
Biden said, first off.
By the way, I just want to point out, no matter who Kamala Harris picks as her vice president, the VP would literally be a DEI hire because it's going to be a white guy. Joe Biden was literally a DEI hire under Obama. Obama won because he was insanely charismatic. They needed a white guy to bounce him out. The DEI hires here are in the opposite direction, to appeal to the moderates and conservatives who are uncomfortable with purely woman or POC power. Like, unironic, everyone knows, even Republicans admit, yeah, like Joe Biden was the white guy, the like token white guy to bounce him out. Yeah, whoever this VP pick is going to be like a fancy dry white or whatever. It's insane, dude. Them's the DEI hires.
He said he's going to hire a black female for vice president, and that he just skipped over. What about white females? What about any other group?
Look at that atrocious suit fit, dude. How do you have this shit? But do you have the wrong button in the wrong buttonhole? How the fuck are you just standing up straight with the suit buttoned and you have the lapel slacking on one side? What is this? I didn't even know it was, but this is like a new suit fuck up. Loser.
Just when you go down that route, you take mediocrity, and that's what they have right now as a vice president.
So are you suggesting she was a DEI hire?
100%. She was a DEI hire. He said he was going to hire, and she didn't. her record is abysmal at best.
We know that
notice how much Republicans want to talk on her being black and a woman, but when they want to like diversify, when they want to add a little bit of DEI to their argument, they're like, yeah, her record's bad, and then they don't elaborate. They're like, yeah, her record's bad. Also, she's black. Goodbye. You know, what do you got to say, man?
as a former prosecutor, she can prosecute the case against a convicted felon and make the case to the American people that she is really primed and ready to take over as the leader of our country.
And that last Congressman Dan Golden, a Democrat from New York, expressing what a lot of other Democrats are saying. They believe that she can draw a sharper contrast with Donald Trump than Joe Biden was able to, also to bolster.
All right. How long until one of them pops out the N-word? I am not joking when I say that I genuinely think the popularization of the term DEI was deliberately invoked as a way of preventing people from saying the N-word. I'm not even kidding. I think the desire for a bunch of Republican politicians, pundits, and what have yous to just say the N-word is getting greater and greater, and they want a term that you can reflexively defer to without saying it. Mike Bloomberg urges Democrats not to rush presidential pick. The future's now, old man. Shut the fuck up. You had your chance. Donate $1 billion to the Future Forward PAC, you stupid fucking weasel. You're dead soon anyway. Get your money in there.
It is the weirdest thing to me. Democrats say that it is racist to believe, well, they say it's racist to do anything. I had a Diet Mountain Dew yesterday and one today. I'm sure they're going to call that racist too, but
true.
It's good.
They love being called racist, dude. They love it. They want it so badly. I'll call you a freak for liking Diet Mountain Dew. Hold on. Someone linked this right before I started. Okay, so this is a Nazi account. Goyish eyes realize real lies. Paraphrasing, what's his name? Not Jackson Smith. What's his name? What's Will Smith's kid's name? Jaden Smith, that's right. As a white supremacist, ironic.
So I think
this is Peter Thiel, by the way. This sweaty golem-looking motherfucker with the sunken eyes, who genuinely looks like he's about to shoot up the building. This is Peter Thiel, a billionaire, tech mogul, and one of the people spending a lot of money to make sure you don't get to vote in 2028.
in the case of Palantir specifically, I think when I was doing research online, a lot of the criticisms that people want to make about Palantir is the idea that the technology that Palantir produces is used to crack down on individual liberty. So often the examples that people use to make this criticism is the idea of the example of policing departments across the US, or even with the protests outside the contracts with the IDF. And how do you...
It's always the most like dysgenic, non-functional inability to withstand the sunlight freaks who build movements based on the innate superiority of their biology. Look at this fucking guy.
In your position and as involved in Palantir, how do you navigate that balance between governments and technology?
He's being asked questions in AI. Okay, listen to these answers.
So determined. You mentioned you wouldn't be...
We're just looking at his behavior here, not the answers.
You mentioned you wouldn't be supporting Donald Trump. Would that change if he selected J.D. Vance as his vice presidential candidate?
Man, I'm always tempted to go back. I am so determined to try to stay out of it, but I'm not going to make an announcement of my political intentions here at Cambridge today. So, you know, I think Trump will win. I think that.
Remember, guys, this guy's literally one of the like grand architects of this country's demise. This one's even worse. Listen to this. He's asked a question about Israel.
So what do you think about the use of artificial intelligence or lavender by the IDF in identifying Hamas targets? And secondly, do you agree with Elon Musk about that the population decline?
Are all tech billionaires like this? He's so Elon coded? Yes, because they were like uncharismatic fuckwits who got bullied in school, and once they ended up lucking out in an investment, because they're never actually tech guys. They're always like tech investment guys. They're always like venture capitalists in the tech industry. Once they get a fuck ton of money, they're like, now that I've made a bunch of money, which is divine evidence of my superiority over others, I will use my power to get back at all the chads who bullied me in high school. And then like that usually translates into some kind of like weird megalomaniacal desire for attention. Elon does it. Peter Thiel does it. They both ended up following the same basic path. Peter Thiel probably thinks himself smarter than Elon Musk, which to be fair is an extremely low bar. He's certainly not more charismatic. Listen to this.
Decline is a risk for humanity.
Look, I'm not, without going into all the I'm not on top of all the details of what's going on in Israel because my bias is to defer to Israel. It's not for us to.
A lot of Nazis like this guy, by the way. So him being asked a question on like Israel's use of AI and him flubbing and going like, I listen to Israel, I stand with Netanyahu, is incredibly funny.
To second guess everything, and I believe that broadly the IDF gets to decide what it wants to do, and that they're broadly in the right, and that's sort of the perspective I come back to. And if I fall into the trap of arguing you on every detailed point, I would actually be conceding the broader issue that the Middle East should be micromanaged from Cambridge, and I think that's just.
Did he just say my bias is to side with Israel? Yes.
Simply absurd, and so I'm not going to concede that point.
This is the guy who made JD Vance. Oh, it really didn't, Tempest. Is that true? And then the replies are just Nazis being really mad. It's funny. Isn't he the guy who funded Hogan's lawsuit against Gawker? Yes. Peter Thiel wrote that women getting the vote was bad for democracy. Not surprising. Again, like unfuckable mediocre men end up like growing into these, but like, yeah, the pattern repeats every time, man. Isn't Peter Thiel gay? Another like very funny fact. Another thing adding to the pile. One second. He said that it shouldn't, Dummkopfweeb. Donate now to help me afford whatever fucking experimental device I'm going to have to buy to clear my sinuses. This is out of date, man. This BBC article is from what? Now it should be 3 hours ago. Harris raises 50 mil. Isn't this doubled now? This info is out of date. Yeah, it's at 100 million now, or extremely close. Most recent funding, yes, it's my own work, sorry. Thank you for apologizing. Up to 101 million as of 3 p.m. EDT. Holy shit. Jesus Christ, man. I'm feeling a little hopeful. Yeah, for real, we should watch that. This was Kamala Harris's first appearance in public speech since, you know, everything happened at a NCAA event. Are these new funds or Biden's old war chest too? Just new funds. 100 mil only in Act Blue small dollar donations, not including the hundreds of millions that have gone towards super PACs or Biden's pre-existing war chest. The total amount of money that's aligned in favor of Kamala Harris right now is probably around $500 million. You've got about, I think, $250 million from Future Forward alone. They had 100 mil raised in the past 24 hours, and then you have the pre-existing money. It's around $500 million. Does Kamala get Biden's war chest? Yes. She's on the ticket. She gets all that money.
Great, incredible. I'd like to thank President Biden and Vice President for student athletes.
Hey, I know who you are.
Greetings, everyone. Greetings, and Linda, I want to.
This speech is kind of boring. Sometimes history calls upon us to be present for something slightly boring. Okay.
Thank you for all you do to support these extraordinary student athletes. And it is good to be here with so many leaders, including, of course, members of Congress, members of our administration, and our extraordinary athletes. Our president, Joe Biden, wanted to be here today. He is feeling much better and recovering fast, and he looks forward to getting back on the road. And I wanted to say a few words about our president. Joe Biden's legacy of accomplishment over the past 3 years.
Do you think she's going to significantly change her rhetoric now that she's going to be potentially the president? Do you think she's going to lock in and be more serious?
Is unmatched in modern history. In one term, he has already, yes, you may.
Am I crazy, or are the shoulders on the suit very broad? That's actually very common for women's pantsuits. They tend to have broadened shoulders because it allows them to replicate the swoop and triangle shape of men's tailoring, because women obviously tend to have narrow shoulders, and it allows the swoop outward to encompass the size of their breasts, because women, shocker, tend to have tits. It's difficult to have a perfectly tailored shoulder then like go down to the breast and encompass it without you getting a lot of weird pulling. So a wider shoulder allows you to complete that triangle while accommodating the breasts.
In one term, he has already surpassed the legacy of most presidents who have served 2 terms in office. And I first came to know President Biden through his son, Beau. We worked together as attorneys general in our states.
It's okay,
and back
Kagra.
then, Beau would often tell me stories about his dad. He would talk about the kind of father and the kind of man that Joe Biden is. The qualities that Beau revered in his father are the same qualities that I have seen every day in our president. His honesty, his integrity, his commitment to his faith and his family.
She's so fucking refreshing to hear. Holy shit, why did I hate her in 2019? One of the main reasons we were galvanized against Kamala Harris is because of the way the K-Hive acted about Bernie Sanders. Kamala Harris was in this weird position where the people who liked her over the other candidates on the primary debate stage were more right-wing than she was. She had a weirdly toxic community. I don't even know why. I genuinely don't. It certainly wasn't anything she said. Kamala Harris has never been like super mean or incisive or anything. I'm not entirely sure why. Yeah, I don't know.
Big heart and his love, deep love of our country. And I am firsthand witness that every day.
That's part of it, Benjamin.
Our President Joe Biden fights for the American people, and we are deeply, deeply grateful for his service.
Deep breath. It's over. Trump's won.
Nation.
I'm actually KMSing over this no stuff, dude. This is crazy, man.
And so with that, on behalf of our president and Dr. Biden, I am honored to welcome all of you to the White House to celebrate the achievements of these great athletes. Every one of them is a national champion, a national champion. In America, tens of millions of people play a sport as a child, and the best of the best grow up to become national champions. Here today, we have 7 undefeated teams.
Neomed sinus rinse kit. What's the difference between that and just a basic saline nasal spray that you can get at CVS or Walgreens or whatever?
11 repeat champions and 20 first-time winners.
Okay. We've made the statement on Joe Biden. That's the only thing relevant to us right now. Okay. She'll probably eventually do a full speech, but guys, we are coming up on the actual Democratic convention. So, you know, we'll see what happens up until that point. I'm going to email you the link. Sure, email me the link. Go for it. If only, Sake. It makes me not want to talk because it makes me worry that every time I talk, my sinuses are going to feel stuffed up. Fucking annoying. Oh, did you guys see this? All the newly elected members of the French Parliament not shaking hands with the rep for the far right. Look at this. They all get to point their little. They put their little paper in the vase. Isn't this bad PR? No! Do not believe the liberal lies. The fascist hates you when they want you dead. If you are put in a position where you have to, are forced to, work in the same building as them, you must demonstrate your contempt at all times. The like Clintonite Democrat obsession with getting along behind the scenes with the Republicans that they talked shit about in public did them no benefits. Nobody liked that. What the... Okay, I don't know why we have to ruin like everything funny with a stupid like Zoomer TikTok edit. It actually pisses off Republican voters too. Yeah, nobody likes it. Nobody likes it. Tea, I don't like tea. New VP candidate leaked. This is like the 50th time that I've been linked this. It's not even that funny of a tweet. I've been linked this over and over again. It's not even... Wait, have I been linked it by the same person over and over? L. Bieber? You fucked up! To the pit with ye! Avast! To the hole! I'm sure they're just excited. I am too, now that I know they're not going to link it again. Why would you ever link me anything from Iglesias? I know what I want to see. We had the hearing from the Secret Service earlier today. And I had the distinct pleasure of dropping in on the live stream when Miss Presley was talking, and all the people in the comment sections were like spamming DEI clown emoji because she's a black woman.
They tell to advance their anti-diversity agenda, which is a key theme throughout Project.
There wasn't an agent on the roof because it was a sloped roof. Is that normal, and do you fear that
I just want to see a bit.
Did not. 2 others were seriously injured. It was a horrifying moment in American history. The horror was exceeded only by the bravery of the law enforcement agents who threw themselves in harm's way when shots were fired. The bravery of a crowd unwavering in its refusal to panic, and the bravery of a bloody President Trump refusing to run. While we give overwhelming thanks to the individual Secret Service agents who did their jobs.
I take it back. I don't want to listen to this for 4.5 hours. I am more than happy, however, to look at some of the specific clips that the far-right YouTube channel Forbes Breaking News has put out there. Jim Jordan goes absolutely nuclear on Secret Service director over Trump shooting.
As Chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Mr. Jordan from Ohio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director, were you guessing or lying? The day after President Trump is shot, Secret Service spokesman Anthony Guglielmi said, quote, the assertion that a member of the former president's security team requested additional security resources that the U.S. Secret Service or the Department of Homeland Security rebuffed is absolutely false. The next day, Secretary Mayorkas said that is an unequivocally false assertion. We had not received any request for additional security measures that were rebuffed. But 5 days later, the Washington Post said this: top officials repeatedly rejected requests from Donald Trump's security detail for more personnel. The next day, the New York Times said this: Mr. Guglielmi acknowledged that the Secret Service had turned down some requests for additional federal security assets for Mr. Trump's detail. So which is it? Because both statements can't be true. Were you guessing or lying when you said you didn't turn down requests from President Trump's detail?
Neither, sir, and I appreciate the question.
Well, what were you doing? Because those statements don't jive.
So what I can tell you is that for the event in Butler, there were no requests that were denied. As far as requests...
Well, maybe they got tired of asking. Maybe you turned them down so darn much, they said, not worth asking. How many times did you turn them down ahead of that?
I think that it is important to distinguish between what some people may view as a denial of an asset or a request.
Well, is Mr. Guglielmi your spokesperson? He said he acknowledged the Secret Service had turned down some requests. I'm asking how many?
A denial of a request does not equal a vulnerability.
Well, tell me what it is.
There are a number of ways that threats and risks can be mitigated with a number of different assets, whether that be through personnel, whether that be through technology or other resources.
Well, tell the committee which it was. They asked for...
She's not answering questions.
...additional help in some form or another. You told them no. How many times did you tell them no, and what did you tell them no to?
Again, I cannot speak to specific incidents, but I can tell you in general terms, the Secret Service is judicious with their resources based on...
What does some requests mean? How many times? Some indicate requests is plural. So more than once they asked for additional help and you turned them down. What they asked...
Who's the bad one? I'm stupid. Dude, it's not a sports game, man. She's the director of the Secret Service, and he's a right-wing dipshit. We kind of don't like either. We're not going into this with... They're both bad.
And how many times did you turn them down? Pretty basic questions.
So again, without having all of the details in front of me, sir, what I can tell you is that there are times...
You didn't get briefed on how many times you turned down the Trump detail when they asked for additional help?
I'm sorry.
You didn't get briefed on that before you came to this hearing, knowing you were going to get asked that question?
What I can tell you is that in generic terms, when people...
Why does he talk like this is an interrogation? Because it literally is.
When details make a request, there are times that there are alternate ways to cover off on that threat or that risk.
But that's not what he said. He said they were denied certain requests, some requests. This is your spokesperson, not me talking. This is the Secret Service.
It's literally what the CCP does to political... Are you all like... Is this your first hearing? This is this happens like every day in the Senate. This is literally like this is a constant. This is a normal thing. We watched it just like 2 weeks ago with the CEO of Boeing. Like,
talking. And what a change from absolutely false, unequivocally false to, oh, by the way, there were some times where we didn't give them what they wanted. That's a huge change in 5 days. And the fact that you can't answer how many times you did that, that's pretty darn frustrating, not just for me, but for the country.
This is pretty stupid and weak.
Just for the record, the Secret Service has an annual budget of around $3.1 billion, and I believe around 8,000 employees. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Obviously, there were many security failures on the day of the attempted assassination and leading up to that day. Let's start with the building that the shooter used to shoot President Trump from. At any point Saturday, did the Secret Service have an agent on top of that roof?
Sir, I'm sure, as you can imagine, that we are just 9 days out from this incident, and there's still an ongoing investigation.
Dude, wow, she really won't answer anything. Are you kidding me? That's the easiest question. You would know whether anyone was ever on that roof. Why is she stonewalling the most obvious, straightforward questions?
Investigation, and so I want to make sure that any information that we are providing to you is factual.
You can't. Okay. Why did the Secret Service not? Can you answer why the Secret Service didn't place a single agent on the roof?
We are still looking into the advanced process and the decisions that were made.
Okay. Wasn't that building within the perimeter that should be secured? Do we agree with that?
The building was outside of the perimeter on the day of the visit. But again, that is one of the things that during the investigation we want to take a look at and determine whether or not other decisions should have been made.
One of the things that you said, I believe, in an interview, that there wasn't an agent on the roof because it was a sloped roof. Is that normal? And do you fear that immediately creates an opportunity for future would-be assassins to look for a slanted roof? I mean, this is a huge question that every American has. Why wasn't a Secret Service agent on the roof? And there have been reports that agents were supposed to be on the roof, but it was hot that day and they didn't want to be on the roof. Can you answer any of those questions, Director?
So I appreciate you asking me that question, Chairman. I should have been more clear in my answer when I spoke about where we placed personnel in that interview. What I can tell you is that there was a plan in place to provide overwatch, and we are still looking into responsibilities and who was going to provide overwatch. But the Secret Service in general, not speaking specifically to this incident, when we are providing overwatch, whether that be through counter snipers or other technology, prefer to have sterile rooftops.
Did the Secret Service use any drones for surveillance that day?
So again, I'm not going to get into specifics of that day in itself, but there are times during a security plan that the Secret Service does deploy an asset like a drone.
There were reports that the shooter used a drone just a few hours before the rally start time. Is that accurate?
I have heard those same reports, and again, am waiting for the final report.
Do you know, if you can't answer the question, that's your answer. But can you answer this? Do you know? I'm not asking yes or no, but do you know if the shooter used a drone before the shooting?
That information has been passed to us from the FBI.
How many Secret Service agents were assigned to President Trump on the day of the rally?
Again, I'm not going to get into the specifics of the numbers of personnel that we had there, but we feel that there was a sufficient number of agents assigned.
There are reports that several agents assigned to the rally on July 13th were temporary agents not normally assigned to President Trump. Is that accurate?
He's fishing for clips of her being incompetent. Okay, but the problem is, like, they actually did fuck up. A sniper from a rooftop 400 feet away isn't exactly like a crazy, esoteric, unexpected. There were only so many rooftops in the area. Bullets can go 400 feet. Like, 100%, it's a fuck up. Yeah. Like, but it seems like she won't answer literally any question, you know? This is kind of a worthless hearing because all this shit is classified. Well, she can say it's classified it seems like a lot of this evasiveness doesn't come down to it being classified. A lot of it just seems to be she doesn't want to give anyone any information that they can use to like hook onto and attack her on. In all likelihood, she probably did at some point in the past say, nah, we don't need more Secret Service agents on Trump. Things are fine. It's fine. And now that things went tits up, she doesn't want to give any information that would lead to people being able to say, hey, you actually did not, like, you did fuck up on that call, you know? That's the impression, at least.
What I can tell you is that the agents that were assigned to former President Trump are Secret Service agents that provide close protection to him, and that was what was actual on that day.
How many temporary agents were there that day?
Quite frequently, sir, during campaign events, the Secret Service utilizes agents from HSI or the Department of Homeland Security.
You don't know how many?
Supplement
you can't answer?
Our plan.
Have the investigators reconstructed the shooter's precise movements over the past?
Yeah, okay. What did Maxwell Frost have to say?
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. And obviously, you want to start by stressing that political violence is always unacceptable and acknowledging that this is still an ongoing investigation. But oversight hearings like this are essential components of an investigation, and I want to thank the chair for pulling this together. Madam Director, I appreciate you for being here. The events of July 13th raised serious questions about the efficacy and thoroughness of the security protocols in place. The gravity of the fact that an unsophisticated gunman was able to secure his perch and take a shot at a former president despite multiple layers of security and intelligence are not lost on me. Before I came to Congress, I used to work advance for a major political candidate and have interacted with many different law enforcement agencies on large political events like the one that just happened. How many times was the Secret Service alerted about a suspicious person at the July 13th campaign event?
Not a good suit-tie combo. Not a good suit-tie shirt combo. What do you want?
I don't have an exact number to share with you today, but from what I've been able to discern, somewhere between 2 and 5 times there was some sort of communication about a suspicious individual.
To the Secret Service specifically? Mm-hmm. According to reports, the shooter was photographed twice by security officers prior to the shooting. A police officer saw the shooter on the ground and reported him with a photograph as a suspicious person. Multiple local law enforcement officers identified the shooter, radioed that he was acting suspiciously near the event's magnetometers. A local law enforcement tactical team saw the shooter on a roof and notified other security services and also photographed him. One police officer who photographed the shooter saw him scoping out the roof and carrying a rangefinder. My question is, and you've answered this, but why, or you haven't answered this, why wasn't the event paused right then?
Again, I'm not clear on the timeline of when the Secret Service shift and the counter sniper were notified.
But earlier, Madam Director, earlier you said that the Secret Service would have paused the rally if they identified a threat.
Correct.
So why wasn't it paused?
Because I have to assume that they did not know that there was a threat when they brought the president out on the stage.
I feel like this is a breakdown in communication between local law enforcement, you all, and other actors at the rally. And again, as someone who's worked on these, I understand that there's multiple people with multiple decision, with the ability to make different decisions on the ground. I've taken over the last week, I've spoken with a lot of folks in local law enforcement in my district and across the country that I've worked with before, and other people have brought up concerns around being able to communicate with with Secret Service during these big events and having their flags taken seriously. I do believe that if Secret Service believed that there was a legitimate threat, that they would pause the rally. My concern is before that something was flagged and it wasn't taken as seriously as it should have been taken. So I think this shows an issue with communication, and I want to know, Madam Director, what you intend to do to fix that, not in 60 days, but now. We're in the middle of a presidential election, obviously a former president who had an assassination attempt, another rally goer who was killed due to this gun violence. We now have a presumptive nominee of the Democratic Party who's also historic, first black woman to be running for president, and so I am worried about everybody's life. What do you all intend to do to fix this communication breakdown and making sure that you actually take what local law enforcement, local folks are saying more seriously?
We take what local law enforcement relays to us seriously. Let me just be clear on that. As far as the communication,
But not this time.
we always trust our law enforcement partners and have a great relationship with them. We are looking at whether or not there was a communication breakdown. If that was the case, we will take steps to ensure.
How long before the shooting actually took place did they get a report of the guy climbing the roof? Like, how much time was there? How big of a gap was there?
I have to say, Director, we're pretty close to the halfway point during this. You answered more questions with an ABC reporter than you have with members of Congress. So we have a lot more questions. The American people are demanding that we get answers to those questions, and that's what the purpose of this hearing is today. So I'm
52 minutes. How is it 52 minutes? Why am I getting such varying answers?
Sure, a lot of the questions that have already been asked are going to be asked again, and hopefully we can get some answers to those questions. I strongly implore you to answer those questions. You're here with a subpoena, and we expect you to answer the questions. Chair now recognizes Ms. Mace from South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Cheadle, the American people are watching, and they're wondering if there are any questions you can answer honestly today. So, Director Cheadle,
Secret Service knew there was a gunman on the roof 20 minutes before the shooting. Was he on the roof 20 minutes before? Trump gunman flagged by Secret Service 20 minutes before shooting. Counter sniper used a rangefinder to flag a suspicious man some 20 minutes before gunman opened fire. That couldn't have been on the roof, right? Local police spotted the gunman who was acting strangely at Saturday's Pennsylvania rally about an hour before the shooting. They lost him in the crowd before he was spotted again by the counter sniper. He was identified as a character of suspicion because he had a rangefinder as well as a backpack. Dude, if someone's wandering around a crowd 400 feet away from the former president with a rangefinder, I'm not saying arrest him on the spot. I'm just saying you'd think you'd have an officer go like, hey, tag that guy. Like, hey, fuck, like, seriously, dude. You could detain for that easily. I'm not saying you would, like, arrest him or charge him with a crime. Just like, yeah, man. He was only on the roof for like 2 minutes before the shooting. Yeah, but that's enough time for the counter sniper to at least get a bead on him. He had the rifle out. If the counter sniper could shoot back, that means the counter sniper would have had the ability to sight him as soon as he got up on the roof, possibly before. They did in the video. Though he shot first. The counter sniper didn't shoot first. Because of the reverse slope, they couldn't see him till the last second. I don't know if that's true. Maybe? They rangefinded him like 20 minutes before the shooting, right? I don't blame people for wanting answers for this. It's kind of like a crazy demonstration of incompetence. Yeah, Crooks was spotted this time by a counter sniper officer around the AGR International building. The officer reportedly took a picture of the gunman looking through the rangefinder and radioed to a command post to report the sighting. Ban slanted roofs. I don't know.
I have a series of questions, very specific questions. I want very specific answers. Most of my questions are going to demand a yes or no answer. Do you understand?
I do.
Okay, my first question. Both sides of the aisle today have asked for your resignation. Would you like to use my 5 minutes to draft your resignation letter, yes or no?
No, thank you.
We love our theater, folks, don't we?
Was this a colossal failure?
It was a failure.
Yes or no? Was it a colossal failure is the question. Yes or no?
I have admitted this is a terrible.
This is a yes or no series of questions. Was this a colossal failure? Yes or no?
Yes.
Was this tragedy preventable? Yes or no?
Yes.
Has the Secret Service been transparent with this committee?
Yes.
Would you say the fact that we had to issue a subpoena?
This kind of shit is dumb. Honestly, I don't mind it. This woman was stonewalling so hard. Somebody being just incredibly abrasive is preferable to me. Like, none of you would mind it if it was a Democrat doing this. It's because it's coming from a dipshit Republican that we mind. I don't have an issue with it at all.
To get you to show up today as being transparent, yes or no?
I have always been
yes or no. You didn't want to answer the question.
Committee.
We had to issue a subpoena to get you to show up today. That is not transparent, by the way. You stated earlier, Secret Service is not political. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Would you say leaking your opening statement to Punchbowl News, Politico's Playbook, and Washington Post several hours before you sent it to this committee as being political? Yes or no?
I have no idea how my statement got out.
Well, that's bullshit. So, Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record articles by Punchbowl News, Political Playbook, Washington Post, all done at 5:24 a.m., 6:12 a.m., 6:34 a.m., a solid 3 to 4 hours before this committee got your statement.
Without objection, so ordered.
Okay. Is the Secret Service fully cooperating with our committee?
She's slaying personally. I don't know about you guys.
Yes.
Okay. You say you're fully cooperating with this committee. On July 15th, this committee sent you a list of demands of information that we wanted. Has the Secret Service provided this committee a complete list of all law enforcement personnel that were there that day? Have you done that? Have you provided a list to the Oversight Committee? Yes or no?
I will have to get back to you on that.
That is a no. Have you provided all audio and video?
It's shit like that. The answer to that question is no. Say no. What do you mean I'll have to get back to you on that?
Recordings in your possession to this committee, as we asked on July 15th, yes or no?
I would have to get back to you.
That is a no. You're full of shit today.
All right. Sorry, folks. It's the gay in me. I can't help it, Stan.
Have you provided all audio and video recordings in your possession to this committee, as we asked on July 15th, yes or no?
I would have to get back to you.
That is a no. You're full of shit today. You're just being completely dishonest.
Mr. Chairman, I want to.
Come on.
We have to maintain decorum in this committee, no matter how upset we get.
Have you provided any and all memos to this committee that we've asked to on July 15th? Have you provided all memorandums within the Secret Service?
I would have to get back to you on
that. Is a no. You are being dishonest or lying. Like you're being dishonest here with this committee. These are important questions that the American people want answers to, and you're just dodging and talking around it in generalities. And we had to subpoena you to be here, and you won't even answer the questions. We have asked you repeatedly to answer our questions. This isn't hard. These are not hard questions. Have you provided us all communications from the Secret Service related to that day and that rally? Have you provided this committee? We've asked for this information on July 15th. Have you provided any of this information that this committee has?
I don't know if you need to hand it to Republicans trying to encourage conspiracy, but she's not encouraging conspiracy. In this case, the Secret Service actually did fuck up and actually is being obfuscating. If Kimberly Cheadle had come here and been like as open as she could without like broaching national security, like anything like that, maybe like if she had come here with a more forthcoming tone, maybe things would have worked out differently, But she came here like being very well, transparently opaque to, you know, like it's, if anything, her behavior is feeding the conspiracism, you know? Having a Secret Service director show up under subpoena and then like aggressively fail to answer questions. I don't know. Yeah, Hunger Master, I get that, but it's the fault of the Secret Service director for enabling that narrative, I think.
Asked of the Secret Service, any of it?
I'll have to get back to you.
Have you even read this letter that we sent you? Did you even read this?
Yes.
Okay, and you have said you don't know, you have no idea. Well, the answer is no. We haven't gotten a single document or piece of information or data from you or your agency in related to the rally that we have asked you for. So, was this attempted assassination of Donald Trump a failure of training or execution or both?
I think that those are answers that we need to examine.
Training, execution, or both? Which one?
I think those are answers.
All right. How many Secret Service?
See, again, like stuff like this. She, like from my perspective, my thought would be she could best say, based on the information I have, I believe execution. Right? Wouldn't that make sense? That'd be a sensible answer, right? But she, even the answers that we know she has the ability to give some room on, she's not at all. I'm not saying she should just like fall for every bad faith trap and go like, yeah, I fully commit to this position that might be proven wrong due to information outside of my like scope of knowledge, you know? But like she's just not, she's so defensive.
Service personnel have lost their jobs due to this colossal failure.
At this time, none.
Okay, there's an answer. I thought she was going to say, I'll have to get back to you on that.
How many Secret Service personnel have been required to take a refresher course on how not to let people shoot Donald Trump?
Our personnel are currently operational. We are examining the facts of this investigation, and we will make the changes necessary.
What time did law enforcement become aware that there was an individual on the roof with a clear line of sight to President Trump?
I am still verifying timelines.
Of course, 9 days in, you have no answers. How many minutes went by between the time law enforcement saw and took photos of crooks and the shooting? How many minutes?
I am still verifying timelines.
57 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Before I recognize...
There's probably going to be another hearing on her in the future where they go over this stuff after the investigation is complete. Oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene took a shot.
Chair now recognizes.
I don't believe you, and neither do the people watching this hearing. You're not doing well, as Mr. Moskowitz informed you. You've been sitting here for over 3 hours, and I have you know the entire country is demanding you resign and demanding that you be fired if you do not.
Okay. Even if the audio wasn't fucked, I don't want to listen to her talk. Yeah, you mean when they should be doing this, right, Vosh? Why are you guys being so defensive about the fucking head of the Secret Service? You're standing for gigacops right now. No, it's okay for there to be an angry hearing like a week after a massive fuck up and an attempted assassination of a former president, you know? That's pretty normal. Like a hasty hearing is pretty normal. Her defensiveness and her unwillingness to answer questions directly is definitely not just her being like prudent and cautious. It's also her being just completely opaque. Like it's definitely both. Like, come on. AOC's question for her? Okay, sure, we'll watch AOC.
You established earlier that the building upon which the shooter operated from was outside of that established perimeter, correct, for the Butler, Pennsylvania event?
It was outside of our secure perimeter, yes.
Now, that building was, I believe, 500. How far away was that building from the president?
It was approximately 200 yards.
200 yards. Now, the individual used an AR-15 in order to act out his assassination attempt.
Known because every bullet kills 15 people, yes.
An AR-15 has a range of about 400 to 600 yards. My question is why does the Secret Service perimeter, why is the Secret Service protective perimeter shorter than one of the most popular semi-automatic weapons in the United States?
There are a number of weapons out there with a number of ranges. Again, an advance was completed. The determination of the perimeter, I'm not going to speak to specifics, but there are a number of factors that are taken into account when we determine our perimeter. Some of it has to do with terrain, some of it has to do with buildings, some of it has to do with assets and resources that are available.
And so what I'm hearing is that a perimeter was not established outdoors in an outdoor venue that would prevent an AR-15, which is one of the most common weapons used in mass shootings, from being able to be within the range of Secret Service protection.
This is really stupid. The God's honest truth, and this sounds kind of like maybe counterproductive or defeatist, but it's the thing that I kind of privately believe. I don't know if you can actually secure an effective perimeter anymore. It genuinely seems like if a person wants to attempt a shooting or an assassination or whatever, they can kind of just do it. Like, firearms have such a long range that you can't reasonably like, imagine what a 600-yard perimeter would look like in like a midtown city where you have a bunch of buildings ranging in height from 1 story to 5 stories. Like, there could potentially be hundreds of rooftops that cover any, like, it's that's like 2 blocks. That's more than 2 blocks, potentially. I mean, it's, and every window, yeah, it is about mitigation, not total prevention, but it's just like, sometimes I feel like the only thing that really makes a difference is just having a country stable enough where people don't want to throw their lives away trying, you know? Like, if somebody's doing an event indoors, you can protect them. There are things you can do. You can have security measures at the entrances. A person can be protected if they're indoors. But if they're outdoors, I genuinely don't know. Unless you're outdoors in, I don't know, like in the White House veranda or whatever, in which case, like, obviously you're at the White House, you have that security coverage. Everything in everything in DC is like tailored towards security at the, you know, the important government buildings. I'm just kind of curious. I don't really know. You also have snipers with like 2-kilometer ranges. Yeah, well, the main issue with that as an option is just that I think that most people just can't make that shot, really. Like, the gun might have that range, but do your hands, you know, like, can you hold it that steady? Can you factor in the wind? You would that at that point we're getting like, you need like a Green Beret sniper or whatever to make that shot, because you only get one, you know, before like the first bullet misses and then like the president ducks. A trained assassin could? Yeah, but like in the real world, I don't think trained assassins are really a thing. Hitmen are a thing, but they're greasy, low rent dipshits in like, you know, countries with a poor crime and policing that just like, you give them $500 and they shoot a guy like on a drive-by or whatever. Like that level of like paid killing works, but assassins, I don't like. We see a lot of them in movies and stuff, but every time a shooting happens, it's like a crazy lone wolf. When was the last time we heard about a professional assassination being done by like a trained sniper? I don't think I've ever heard of something like that. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, just I don't think it's likely you're gonna, you know, have a sniper from that distance, I guess. They don't really happen domestically. Yeah, I guess they happen more in other countries. I'm talking about America mostly, because in America we're a bit more, you know, secure and established, I guess, but Oswald was trained. Yeah, Oswald was trained as a like former soldier and a like a lunatic, but he wasn't like an assassin. Oswald was just like a nutcase, really. Well, whatever.
A perimeter was established, and even though there were buildings that were outside of that perimeter, it wasn't just that building. There were a number of buildings in the area, and there was
Oswald was a very good shot. That is true.
was overwatch that was created to help mitigate some of those buildings.
Oswald was in the Navy, so he wouldn't have been trained as a marksman. No, he was a he was a very good shot. Also, people in the Navy are still trained on marksmanship, but no, Oswald was an exceptionally good shot. That was like the only thing he was good at. He was a fucking weirdo. That was the one thing he could do well. Marine, the Navy, but gayer. Kamala Harris now endorsed by 41 of 47 Dem senators, 181 of 212 Dem reps, and 19 of 23 Dem governors. If we do go to an open convention, man, it's going to be a quick one. I'll say that much. Brat Summer, Coconut Fall. Fuck yes. Fuck yes. We're just waiting on the Obama endorsement. I hear the Marines' basic marksmanship qualifying has them hitting further distances than other branches. I would take anything you hear to that effect with a grain of salt, not necessarily because it's not true. I don't know if it's true, but because Marines like to jerk themselves off raw when they're like universally known as the meathead branch that people go into because they're stupid and they want the white gloves. And then like they like, you know, the few, the proud, the Marines, and it's like, oh yeah, man, you just enter the meat grinder slightly faster. You know, they love that shit. They love their fancy uniforms. You can get people in some crazy situations if you promise them a nice uniform for it, you know? What? Oh, sure, yeah. The open convention could just be a quick formality that's meant to unify people, Benjamin. Showing everyone, you know, cheering and freaking out over it. Vosh, you're going to have to touch on Mr. Beast's friend being a pedo, but probably no time for it today. First of all, I don't have to touch on anything. The only thing I have to touch is myself, and I do it nightly. Second of all, it actually is in the docket here. The problem is that, as is always the case with YouTube drama, the only way to get information on this is like 50 YouTube channels run by the worst humans on earth have put out drama videos on Chris Tyson. Apparently she like flirted with like 13-year-old when like 8 years ago, but when she was like 22 and the kid was 13 and they met up when the kid was 16 or something. She's Ava now? Ava. The victim has come forward to say they weren't groomed, not saying this means they weren't, but people are overlooking this. Yeah, that's true, but also not like necessarily a reliable. Yeah, I don't really know, because I'm not going to watch a fucking like YouTube drama video to that point. You know? Honestly, not surprised at all considering the Shadman stuff. She was really into Shadman. I don't know the lore. I don't know the lore. The only thing I've seen is that Ava had a tweet from like 2016 where she was like, yeah, I love lolicon, which is a bad look. I figured that if it was one tweet in isolation, it might be one of those like a person was trying to be edgy and it fell flat thing, because I don't know if it was like substantiated by anything, but you know, like Shadman stuff and then this, I don't really know. Feels like orchestrated culture war drama. I mean, probably, but it could also be real, which like something can be orchestrated culture war drama while also being like a real issue, right? I saw someone's tweet that it wasn't even flirting, just inappropriate jokes she was making with a minor. Still weird and appropriate, but not actual grooming, though I don't know how true that is. I'll need to read to find out more. I don't have to watch one of these videos, do I? Okay, here's one that's like 7 minutes. It's like no way to parse the information except through these.
Before starting this video, I want everyone to understand two things.
Oh God, right off the, you click one that's 7 minutes long and it's going to be like very perfunctory, right? Getting right the fuck to it. Okay, right, I know the lolly tweet or whatever.
There's a very sketchy personality. What he was expelled when some in 20 Shadman's vision was much clearly molested. This is another drawing by it as a centerpiece.
Wow, I really don't care to watch this at all. I don't even necessarily like disagree with the video's contents or whatever. It's just I can't watch YouTube drama videos. I fucking hate this editing style because it's made for like 10-year-olds. Yeah, they're all trying to rip off Sunny V2, who is also made for 10-year-olds. It's meant for the attention spans of people who are 10 years old. Really hate that the game theory editing style is now just the conspiracy style. Well, that's because the game theory channel was also made to appeal to the attention spans of 10-year-olds. Like, that's the unifying feature here, is that drama YouTube is like prepubescent boy YouTube, right? Like, there's not, like, that's the whole back and forth, man. Read the guy who was allegedly groomed tweets first. Okay, I'm not saying that the tweet from the guy who was allegedly groomed doesn't mean anything, but also it kind of doesn't mean anything, right? Like, you can't take the word of, like that'd be like a husband beats his wife and you ask the wife and the wife's like, no, it's fine. Like, you kind of have to go on the info, right? Why? Because you have to go in the info, You can't really trust people if they're closely involved or they have a good relationship or something. Yeah, but they do have some agency. Their agency should be used to contest the facts of the issue, not to just say, oh, no, it's fine, right? Oh, no, it's fine isn't enough. They need to contest the facts of the issue. They need to say, like, because I am involved in this, I have close info, and the close info that I have, here it is, and that's why, like, this is different, He does, in fact, contest the facts of the issue. I didn't take a camper van to meet up with Chris. I was on vacation with my family and stopped by with my family present and said hi. Okay. This is in reply to a drama alert tweet. People did say that about the lady Drake kissed on stage when she was 17. Okay, pardon me if I'm misremembering, but the weird part about that wasn't that Drake kissed the 17-year-old. It was that someone then said, yo, she's 17. And Drake went, yo, why you 17 with a fat ass like that? That's crazy. You're too sexy. Haha. And then, like, went off or whatever. Wasn't that the weird part? Am I misremembering? Isn't that like the same incident? Yeah, he was like, damn, you thick, though. Like, that's the way. Yeah, if somebody had said, hey, she's 17, and he'd been like, like, I don't think anyone would have really, yeah, I don't think that would have been, like, remembered as a certified lover boy, exactly. Drake was also hanging out with underage models and then would throw them huge parties. Thana, there's a song that came out recently that I think you might like. It touches on some of these issues. Yeah. Okay, so anyway.
This ain't true. And this screenshot is, and here we go. Censor this guy since he was 13. Chris Tyson was in college. And
okay. I guess if this was on YouTube, there's no risk of posting it.
This ain't true. And this screenshot is Chris Tyson talking one-on-one with him. And at this point, he would have been 16. And here we go. Here is the picture of them meeting up together. I'm gonna censor his face, and as you can see right there's Carl right there, there's Chris Tyson right there. Chris Tyson was talking to this guy since he was 13. Chris Tyson was in college, And of course, the moment he was able to drive, he takes a camper van out in the middle of the woods, which, by the way, very secluded area. Let me talk about that. Anytime that someone is taking a camper van somewhere, bringing it out in the desert or the middle of the woods, it's very unnecessary because there's RV parks.
What? It's suspicious to bring a camper van to the forest? Is that not the thing you do? Who buys a camper van and then goes to an RV park? I mean, you can, but it's a camper van to camp with.
There's the Walmart parking lot.
Vosh, you don't have to care about this. I'm telling myself that right now. I'm like fighting in my mind. There's two wolves, and one of them is like, hey, you should get involved in this like drama for content. The other one is like, you don't have to pretend to care, man.
There's plenty of areas you can go instead of going to a place that's very unfamiliar to you to camp out there, especially in a secluded area.
What do you do? This is like nothing. It's very suspicious to take a camper van out camping, especially in a secluded area that's far away from the city.
So the real question is, if he was talking to Chris Tyson, who is interested in both men and women, since he was 13 years old and Chris Tyson was in college, why did he take a camper van out to see him and take it out in the middle of the woods in this secluded area?
This is nothing. This is literally like... And then the person who was allegedly groomed said, I didn't take a camper van to meet up with Chris. I was on vacation with my family and stopped by with my family present, said hi. Okay. That's it? This is nothing. I thought it was more than this. I'm pretty sure I've heard other things that are more suspicious than this, but this is the problem with getting any kind of... Like, this drama YouTube is legitimately the most, like, pro-pedophile institute. They rival the fucking Vatican Church, because even if a person is really bad, drama YouTube is so, like fucking... just stupid, just genuinely stupid, like low IQ, that they dilute any actual bad behavior with waves of fucking nothing, like just massive rolling waves of bullshit that completely disengage. Like, that motherfucker had a Sonichu medallion at the front of his table. Why would I think this guy has anything worthwhile to say? Ava might actually have done a bunch of creepy pedo shit. I don't know, and now I don't care. That was my attempt. That was my attempt at engaging. It's done now. Why did Ava delete everything on her Twitter? Lily Krem, that is actually... You ask a lot of questions, and I've told you to cut it out. You're actually catching a mute for that one. Because I just got a little... Like a synapse just like popped inside my head. Why would you think I know the answer to that? You ask a lot of questions, Lily Krem. That happened over a month ago, actually. I don't fucking know. The guy with the Sonichu medallion defends EDP as well. EDP, that really fat right-wing black guy who got caught actually like mid trying to hook up with a little girl. Okay, yeah, that tracks. The problem with drama YouTube is that half of them are pedophiles, so they're not really anti-pedophilia. They're just like, which pedophiles do we like and which ones we don't, basically. Like, if you're holistically anti-pedophilia, you can't be a part of the drama community because, like, that is not... That's a hostile audience at that point. They all defend each other, yeah. Well, they're the experts then? Yeah, they're all like Dexter, you know? Only they have the on-site expertise, you know, to actually hunt the out of the click pedos. I like drama YouTube content sometimes, but my biggest problem with them is a recent drama bringing up someone's diaper fetish and a drama about abuse. What does someone's stupid, icky fetish have to do with anything? Axolotls with cream. They don't care about abuse. plenty of people in the drama community are like pro abuse as long as it's being done by friends of theirs. They don't care. All they care about is producing like sensationalist content for 12-year-old boys to give them likes and subscribes over. That is literally it. If you're ever watching a drama channel and they're like performing disagreement over something that you also dislike, it is meaningless. You don't share any values there. They literally just they're literally just like purely as a consequence of like it being monetizable for them to pretend to have those beliefs. Have you seen the Nikki Haley prediction?
If Donald Trump is the nominee of the Republican Party, we will have a President Kamala Harris. That's just a fact. And the party that gets rid of their 80-year-old candidate is the party that will win. There will be a female president of the United States. It will either be me or it will be Kamala Harris. There's no way that Donald Trump is going to win this election. You're going to have a female president of the United States. It's either going to be me or it's going to be Kamala Harris. Joe Biden is not going to be the nominee. I would make any bets about that. The party that gets rid of their 80-year-old candidate is the party that's going to win.
Who do you think will be the Democratic nominee?
Well, I've said there's going to be a female president of the United States. It will either be me or it will be...
Okay, guys. Here's the plan. Roy Cooper is the VP pick, and then a sudden turnabout endorsement from Nikki Haley of Kamala Harris, and we get both Carolinas. How about that? The double Carolina swoop. We get Georgia just by default, and congratulations, folks. We've got the East Coast. I'm feeling it. Nikki, don't be a pussy. Not Florida, though? Florida's not really part of the East Coast. Doesn't count. That's not her pack lanes. Vivek keeps saying it'll be Michelle. I don't know why. Florida is 100% part of the East Coast? No. Here, I'm going to pee real quick. Then, and I'm really sorry to the the America enjoyers, but I am going to look at some stuff in Bangladesh. Because I don't know what the fuck is going on over there. Yo. What the fuck do any of those words mean, Somniostatic? Anyway, if you've been enjoying the stream, make sure to like and subscribe. What the fuck is going on in Bangladesh? What's going on? Al Jazeera, save me. Save me, Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera, save me.
At least 4 protesters have been killed in Bangladesh as thousands call for a complete shutdown across the country. Violence has broken out between police and students in several locations in Dhaka and on the outskirts of the capital. Hundreds of people have been injured in the past week. Students are demanding an end to quotas for government jobs.
Yeah, my understanding is this has something to do with a quota system. I don't... But it's pretty severe. Oh, wait, apparently they scrapped it 10 hours ago? Bangladesh court scraps job quotas after deadly unrest. Killed more than 100 people. A third of public sector jobs have been reserved for the relatives of veterans from the country's war for independence from Pakistan in 1971. But now the court has ruled just 5% of the roles can be reserved for veterans' relatives. Okay. So wait, students were protesting because they wanted more government jobs to go to the family members of veterans? No, it's the opposite. Okay, okay. Huh. Wait, well then what were the quotas before? So it used to be 30%, so the students were protesting the status quo then? So they were protesting the 30% number, the status quo. It wasn't a sudden change that they protested. The law effectively created a hereditary ruling class. Yeah, it's a pretty shitty law.
Tanvir Chowdhury joins us live from Dhaka with more. So to what extent have the student protesters been able to impose this shutdown?
Pretty much quite an extent. I mean, the traffic is very light, very few public transport or private cars moving around, mostly emergency vehicle and essential vehicle. The city is very tense right now. There's been clashes going on in different sectors of the capital city. We've been to some protests. Just about quarter mile from where I'm sitting, we can hear gunshots, stun, and sound grenades. There's at least 6 private universities, and the students were out in the streets since morning, and they're still clashing with police there. There were helicopters. They were trying to land police helicopters, troops inside the building to disperse the students. Situation is also bad in other parts of the country. We have reports from Chattogram, which is the second largest post city. There's reports of clashes there, and even in other parts of the country. This, despite...
They shut down the internet for a time and people had to use the MOS speakers to convey messages to each other. Yeah, I'm a little late to the party on this one because it seems like the resolution has been more or less found with the court bringing it down to 5%. Does that mean an end to the protests or the protests continuing? Demand justice for protesters killed in recent days. Release the detained protest leaders. Restoration of internet services and resignation of government ministers. Huh. About 115 people are known to have died, but local media reports a much higher figure. What the fuck? Dude, this is an insane number of dead for a protest? They implemented a curfew and brought in the military.
Bangladesh is under a nationwide curfew after weeks of protest turned violent. Military forces are now patrolling the streets of the capital, Dhaka, in a bid to restore calm. More than 100 people have been killed in clashes with police. The unrest started after the government reintroduced limits on who has access to highly sought-after government jobs.
Security forces fill the streets of Dhaka. They've been sent in to restore order after weeks of unrest. People are being told they can only go out to shop for groceries and other essentials. The government is also disrupting internet and mobile services. For weeks, students have been protesting against the reintroduction of a quota system that allocates more than half of government jobs to women, minorities, and the families of veterans. It's a matter of common sense that over 50% of the jobs can't be given away to quota holders. A normal state can't be run like this. The protests started out as peaceful, but turned increasingly violent in recent days when police responded with tear gas, sound grenades, and rubber bullets, killing dozens and injuring thousands more. Protesters have burnt vehicles, attacked public buildings, and stormed the headquarters of the state broadcaster, crashing their program mid-show. Amnesty International says Bangladeshi police have used, quote, unlawful force against protesters.
Yeah, I saw this. Apparently the government deployed basically the Hitlerjugend, the Bangladesh Chhatra League, the student wing of the Bangladesh Awami League. They're repeatedly accused of using torture, extortion, violence, forced prostitution, and killings to instill fear. At least 33 people were killed and 1,500 seriously injured from attacks by BSL between 2009 and 2014. Apparently, the government deployed these guys on student protesters. They love their student organizations in Bangladesh, don't they?
We, analyzed in particular the shooting of Abu Saeed, the first student who was known to be killed. You can see that two officers were, discharging 12-gauge shotguns at him, and we assessed that for geospatial intelligence that the distance between them was 15 meters. So we got a forensic analyst to look at the chest wounds and it was consistent with birdshot. Now, we consider the use of birdshot, which is a hunting weapon, to be completely inappropriate in the use of policing protests.
There are also reports of a student wing from the ruling party Awami League inciting violence and attacking female protesters with directed brutality.
They seem to have really targeted the women and girls. So we had women and girls who told us we thought they would spare us, that they wouldn't, attack us. But in fact, they seem to have attacked them with a particular vengeance, launching, punches and kicks, they said, on their breasts, backs, and stomachs.
Anger against such attacks is still raw. Many say the protests won't stop until the government abandons its quota system. They're also demanding it investigates the students' deaths.
Let's get more on this from DW reporter Beanish Javed. Hello, Beanish. There's just a lot going on, so much violence, more than 100 people killed so far. Tell us more.
Oh, well, Bangladesh politics is a literal fucking meat grinder. Yeah, all our t-shirts come from here.
What's going on?
Eddie, what we know that these protests started peacefully. When the court reinstated the quota system, the students opposed that system. They started protesting, but then there was a hard crackdown on these protests by the police, by Rapid Action Battalion, by border guards. So students were fighting, retaliating with all of these forces. Then there were also reports of assaults by a pro-student government body, Chhatra League, that reportedly assaulted students at Dhaka University.
And this is all outdated, too. The most recent info, apparently, the court victory. Oh, this is after that.
Now, the Bangladeshi student group leading protests against civil service hiring rules have set a 48-hour deadline for the government to meet its demands. They are calling on authorities to restore the internet, withdraw curfews, and release detained protesters. More than 100 people have been killed in clashes. The unrest began after the government reintroduced a controversial quota system where 30% of civil service jobs were set aside for the families of veterans. The Supreme Court drastically scaled back the quota to 5%. I spoke earlier to Tasneem Halil, a Bangladeshi journalist who lives in exile in Sweden, and I asked him if the situation today is now calmer.
Thank you, Claire. The situation has come down a little bit. We have seen, we did not see any major clashes, at least in Dhaka. But on the other hand, people's lives are really, really disrupted. We are hearing reports that hospitals blood banks are running out of blood. As you know, there are thousands of injured people seeking medical care right now. Mobile money, Bangladesh economy is very much dependent on mobile money. That is not working. Phone connections locally even are not working. So it's very, very disruptive. It's very, very fluid, I'll have to say.
And communication has been difficult too, hasn't it? I understand there has been a nationwide internet blackout in Bangladesh for 5 days now. Why do you think the government is restricting the flow of information this way?
All right, I think I get it. I'm not really contributing much because I don't know about the subject. I'm just trying to learn about it. I guess we'll see. I'm interested in seeing how the protests continue after the court order to significantly reduce the quota system. Important to note, talking about it in percentage terms is misleading because the quotas aren't done in aggregate. Yeah, of course. If the quota system says like, yeah, 5% of the jobs are allocated to the family members of veterans, what they mean is like those are the good jobs up top that are reserved for the elite. Yeah, it's just a way of enforcing. Bangladesh is, but we're largely responsible for this, by the way. You know, I don't know as much about Bangladesh as I do about some other countries in the area. You know, I'm hardly an expert on Bangladesh. Most of what I know through them is like adjacent to what I know about like the garment industry over there, and we benefit very much from their cheap labor, and there's an incentive in a society that is like built from such an inequitable economy. You're always going to have push from the top to maintain at the very least like an oligarchy, if not just like open dictatorship. And I guess like the push in that direction is continuing. I don't know. Lamau, Republican strategists are calling Kamala weird. Well, that's probably true. NRSC memo on Kamala Harris has a weird section. This is the best Republicans have against her. Weird. Kamala Harris has a habit of laughing at inappropriate moments. Kamala Harris pledged to ban plastic straws. Kamala Harris isn't a fan of banning certain behaviors like eating red meat. Kamala Harris loves Venn diagrams. Kamala Harris loves electric school buses because she went to school in a school bus. Kamala Harris recently described... Dude, this is the op. This is the op document. This is what they have. Insane! Imagine being the voter who's galvanized by something like this, you know? Median voter syndrome. You never know. Excuse me. Teamsters invites Harris for a roundtable interview. If Kamala Harris gets the endorsement, even after the Teamsters lead, Sean O'Brien, that traitorous dipshit, went over to the RNC to jerk off Trump, that would be pretty huge. I hope so, Benjamin. Yeah, I saw it, Miss Moon. That's a shit photo of the White House. I like it. It's kind of warbly. Are the Teamsters fracturing or what? They kind of have been for a while. That's not the White House? Oh, I didn't look at it very closely. The Capitol building? All of Washington, D.C. is the Capitol, idiot. Every building in it must necessarily be the Capitol building. Dumbass. Everard Clare would have done the same, going to one side first, then the other. I don't think he would have endorsed Trump. All right. Fuck all of you. I'm reading donos, and then I'm dedicating the next 24 hours to investigating the highest tech solutions to a sniffly nose available to the common man these days. Faux Real and a Pretty Loverworm, thank you for the tier 1 subs both. Really appreciate that. Blank Dude 2, Wabbajack, and Captain Cowboy, thank you for the $5 all. Painting walls in an apartment building while listening to LOL. Based, getting some work done. Hell yeah. Unironically Belgian, thanks the gifted tier 1 sub, and the second gifted tier 1 sub. Foreign agent donating to Vush Pack. It's legal. It's a safe and legal thrill. TSW the Shadow Wolf, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Personally, I think pants are more important than democracy, so here's my money. Go put some pants on. I will as soon as stream ends. Right now I'm in shorts. Thank you. Lord Dragon, thank you for the $5. Spend this money unwisely. I promise to. Unironically Belgian, thank you for the tier 3 subs. We need bulk gifted subs alongside random gifts. Doing individual gift spam feels kind of cringe. You mean like being able to choose 5 people to gift subs to specifically, like at once? Wouldn't be too hard to implement. Wizardry, thank you for the tier 1 sub. The alternator went out in my Mustang this morning, but I couldn't even be mad. I'm glad that the Kamala sweep is distracting you from what would otherwise be a very frustrating moment. Cubed Meat, thanks to the 5. Have you tried oxymetazoline nose spray? It chemically opens your nasal passages. I don't know if I have sleep apnea problems necessarily, though. Maybe I do. I don't know. No, I haven't. I could give it a look. I could try. Huh. Sake with the 5 tier 1 subs. I recommend Flonase for your nose. Works super well for clearing up stuffy noses and sinuses. Well, my curiosity is like, what does it do that isn't just like a saline spray, right? Like what specifically is different about it, you know? Hornet, that's fucked up. That's catphobic. Flonase is pretty good. It's for clearing allergy. No, anti-allergens are not what I need. It's not an allergy issue. It's just not. I've tried the anti-allergens. They do nothing. It's not that. Flonase is no steroids. That could be nice. Yeah. Kaiser K, thank you for the $10. Really appreciate that. I hope we get North Carolina, my friend. I really do. Steve Rogers, thanks the tier 3 sub. Really appreciate that. Likewise, unironically Belgium, thank you very, very much. Zengetsu, thank you for the $20. Thanks to you, went from listening to Jordan Peterson to voting left at all French elections. Nice! Huge jump. First heard of you 2 years ago during an Adam Something Dylan Burns debate. Oh, hopefully I was referred to in only the most flattering of terms. Really, though, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're having a better time. VoshFan69 with $5. 90% of drama YouTubers are pedophiles trying to report on each other to eliminate the competition for underage jail. It's actually a cabal. They don't report on each other. They report to people outside the clique because those motherfuckers defend each other for anything, you know? Jackalope, thanks to the tier 1 sub. I'll consider it. Benjamin, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. Cute parrot videos since we got screaming birds earlier in stream. That seems fair. Playing with Legos.
Starly. You look a traffic cop.
Dude, you're holding shit.
Oh, okay.
You're holding it. They got little hands. They're like raccoons. Little baby. Bird brain is such a shit insult. Birds are smart as fuck. Well, they just look stupid. Pigeons look really stupid because of their big, dumb eyes looking both ways. I think pigeons are pretty dumb, right? Modern pigeons. Benjamin, thanks to 5 tier 1 subs. Solution to your sniffly nose issues. Nice meme. Nice meme. It really is a pain in the ass, man. It makes talking a lot less fun. You know, yapping needs to be fun, easy, and convenient if you are a yapper by trade. If you're a yapper by trade and yapping is even a little bit inconvenient, it really, 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 really gets in the way of your business. You know? You probably have post-nasal drip syndrome, Vosh. Needs surgery to treat. Benjamin, that's not very helpful. Post-nasal drip. What a stupid name. Post-nasal drip syndrome. What even is that? When excess mucus builds up in the back of your throat, it's called postnasal drip. In addition to feeling like mucus is draining down your throat, symptoms of postnasal drip include cough, the urge to clear your throat, and hoarseness. It has many causes, including allergies, infections, pregnancies, medicines, GERD. Well, I have GERD, so... Symptoms of postnasal... Oh, hold on. Pregnancy, yeah. I am pregnant. That is true. Feeling of mucus draining into your throat. Yes. Frequent swallowing. Yes. Gurgling or hoarseness. Yes. Urge to clear your throat. Bad arthritis. Nausea and vomiting. Don't have that one. Cough that bothers you more at night. Yes. What about sniffly nose? It's not even mentioning sniffly nose. Allergies. Deviated septum. I know I don't have a deviated septum. Antihistamines don't work. I've tried antihistamines. It doesn't do shit. Decongestants work, kind of, because of course they do. Oral steroid. Flonase is oral steroids, right? Bright light shining in your eyes can fix it. What can cause it? Really? Here, let me see if this helps. Okay, there we go. Deviated septum. I know it's not that. Bacterial infections, chronic acid reflux. I have this. Losing any excess weight. What do you want from me? I've already lost so much. You know, I'll try Flonase. I hope it helps because it actually really does get in the way of streaming sometimes. Crawling my skin, thanks to tier 1 sub. Are you pro Everard? I'm behind him despite the corruption. I think he really wanted power for the workers. I think in spite of everything, he was sincere. What are you using for your GERD? I'm not really using anything. I just started eating less. I just started eating less and I lost weight. Do you count calories? Yeah. I always get bothered by how tight things look on my... I don't like this. I guess there's no real helping it. I have noticed that, Scheherazadian. Well, if we have different symptoms, or sorry, if we have different causes, Benjamin, then obviously Flonase wouldn't help you, Benjamin, if you had a deviated septum. But since I don't have a deviated septum, maybe it'll work for me. What method do you use? App, pen, and paper? For counting calories? No, I just memorize it. I just like, I don't eat very many different foods because, I don't know, I'm autistic or whatever. I'm like, yeah, this meal was about 600 calories-ish, whatever, not a huge deal. And then later it's like, okay, now I had that. That's like now 1,100 in total. And then I have another, it's like, okay, that was like 1,400 in total. And it's like, oh, I've got 400 calories left. That's like 11 Pez things, you know? Great. Yay. Yay. Do you like fruits and veggies? Don't call me out. There we go. Now we're a real good boy. Well, we'll see, Benjamin. How much water do you drink? A lot. Your Pez eating habit is so damn goofy. Yeah, okay, all right, okay, fine. We'll move on with the donos. Jesus. I don't actually want anything around my neck. Ellie Mo, thank you for the $5. Just applied for some jobs in the Harris campaign, becoming maximally coconut pilled and defeating my own apathy all at once. Thanks for a good stream. Hey, thank you for helping propel our nation forward, you know, possibly even to communism under Kamala Harris. Sake, thanks the 5 tier 1 subs. Live footage of the GOP trying to find ways to attack Kamala. I'll run this without audio. This makes me sad, dude. I know it shouldn't, but it does anyway. Why? Because raccoons wash food before eating it. So they're getting like cotton candy and they're like, oh, yum. I'm going to wash it. Vzz. No. You have to not wash it. Use your big brain. Yes, big brain. Yes. I've never actually seen the full video. Raccoons are smart as hell, man. That's cute, Sonora. We are so back. All right, 1 second. Andrew Butler, thank you for the $10. This dono was from the very end of last stream. I didn't catch it before I went offline. No, thank you. Keep on doing what you're doing. I think we might just make it better for all of us eventually. I hope so. Thank you. I don't know if you'll see this, but I appreciate it all the same. Keith Shiraw, thank you for the $2. Matt Miro and Old Schoolist, thank you for the 5 both. I really appreciate that. If Trump loses, how cooked is the Republican Party? Trump won't be able to run in 2028 anyway. Almost certainly just because of age. Like, even if he keeps getting away with it, like, he can't escape aging. So I don't know who the fuck the GOP can replace Trump with. I have no idea. Keith Shira and the Gentleman Blacksmith, thank you for the $5 both. Really appreciate that. I want Josh Shapiro. Well, Josh Shapiro is kind of a piece of shit, to be honest. I don't think Josh Shapiro has the name recognition to do well. He can't be the front runner. He can be the VP. Uniball, thank you for the $5. Have you seen the video of the guy telling Gates to shut up? No, I have not. I should. And Egan, thank you for the $2. Old Schoolist, thank you for the 5. I have a family in rural Alabama. Their dump of a town is nothing but a rundown Dollar General. They always cry about California, though. Yeah, it's genuinely sad how the Republican elites have like managed to convince rural America that their systemic deprivation isn't a consequence of capitalism. It's actually a consequence of globalization. And like there's some nobility in their poverty when compared to the liberal states, purely because those liberal states have, I don't know, black people in them or wokeness or whatever. It's so fucking stupid. Benjamin, thank you for the $10 right after you got exiled. And with the additional $5, really should stop reinforcing the mute by donating right after. No kidding, Benjamin. Yeah, you only donate from there for some reason, so I have to. Diego B and Victorious Gardinosaurus, thank you for the $10 both. Really appreciate that. Vosh, I moved to Ohio, Gyat, from Puerto Rico about a year back, and the difference between somewhat progressive in Columbus and straight up Jesus land once you leave the population centers is insane. Yeah. Ohio kind of fucking sucks, not gonna lie. Not even that blue in the population centers. And I agree, Victorious. I could, if I was going to be sexist against Kamala Harris, I'd be funny about it. You know, that's just me being built different, I guess. Benjamin and Tem Christer, thank you for the 5 both. Really appreciate that. Yes, Jay Aubrey is a good channel. I like Jay Aubrey. The Midnight Garnet, thank you for the $10. Honestly, a black woman would have never gotten away with talking to her like that. You're talking about the Republican Congresswoman at the hearing talking to, the Secret Service director. Yes, that is true. A black woman does not have the privilege that white women, especially Republican white women, have to be bratty bitches. Lightning Dash 31, thank you for the $2. Still Alive and Joseph Stone, thank you for the 5 both. Now that Kamala has replaced Joe Biden, I think there's a very decent possibility that we get a record-breaking number of votes for Kamala. Whether or not she actually ends up winning, what was it, 81 million for Joe Biden in 2020? I think we can beat that. I think we can beat that. Heath Shira with the $2. That brown shirt, you look like a brown shirt. It's Savannah, actually. Javier Valenzuela, thank you for the $5. Balloon sinoplasty, cheap, quick, minimally invasive, quick recovery. Let's try Flonase before we go with any like surgical solutions. You know, maybe we can like work this out without me getting under the knife. You know, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but I want to choose my you know, approaches in a kind of proportionate and escalating way, not jumping up there. I like the rolled sleeves. Thank you. I just decided to do that before stream, and I like it too. I often feel like the sleeves in this cut of shirt are just there's too much drape, you know? Miss Moon, thanks to the 2 tier 1 subs. I've seen like 5 Kamala edits to Chappelle Roan and Charlie XCX songs on TikTok today. The gay Zoomers are coconut pilled all the way. Yeah, youth energy. Youth energy. Huge benefit, man. Huge benefit. And unironically, Belgian, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. I really appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Maybe the feature you've suggested will come in. Maybe it won't because we hate you. There's no way of knowing, you know? There's no way of knowing. One thing that I do know is that the video from this morning is popping off. You guys are crazy. Nice to be favored by the algorithm gods just a little bit, you know? Would ContraPoints finally find you funny then, Vosh? I resent that, man. It's not fair. Everyone gets to make sexist jokes with me. I tweeted on my alt account the other day. I tweet like a schizo for my alt account. I tweeted, you ever think women have it too easy? Obviously a meaningless tweet, empty of substance, of void, just saying shit. You know, you ever think fishermen have it too easy? There's no substance to it. And some people actually got mad at me. What are you doing? What are you doing, man? Also, I say fucking mean shit about men all the time. No one pays attention to that. No one gives me accolades for being one of the good ones. One of the good ones. When I'm like, hey, I just went on Grindr, and boy, men are difficult to talk to because they're fucking stupid and presumptuous. The one good man, famous for not having any bad PR. I'm so happy we went on the man versus bear arc. That was good. It was not only good content, that was like a defining, substantive turning point, I think, in the dynamic of this community. I'm very, very happy with how that went. It was a good little community cleanse. I think a lot of people just needed to be kind of like massaged into the position, you know? All right, folks. I know I'm leaving a little bit early today, but I'm not going to lie. Honestly, the sinuses thing is really bothering me. I know it's always something or another, but I nonetheless, in spite of that, think we had a really good stream today. I think this was a solid stream. I really appreciate you guys being here. If you're not sub for some reason, please make sure to, or I'll know. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. You know? Got my internet fixed. Shouldn't be any issues. It's part of it, no wonder. Yeah. Fighting against that presumption. Let me see. Let me see.
There.
Whoa. I'm fucking following some people I didn't even know I was still following. Holy shit. Who are these individuals? What the fuck is that? What? Why are there so many people that are on Twitch right now who I don't recognize at all? Just send us to Hassan. Fuck it. I don't care about drama shit, man. Literally, I don't. Go enjoy Hassan's stream. Have a good time with it, you know? I hear this guy covers politics too. Now, does he do it as well as me? Well, I don't think we should go, you know, crazy with the accolades here. Is he as tall as me? Some people have said yes. I personally haven't seen a photo of the two of us together, so I can't really say. Who knows? You know, no one can really say without seeing us, you know, back to back, which I'm not going to do personally because I don't want him leeching off of my clout. I'm going to send you guys over. Have a good time, and I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Will you stream tomorrow? Darn tootin'.